Chapter 346. Seeing the five-clawed golden dragon's huge head crouching down, the third elder screamed and turned to run. He was not stupid and knew that he was not the golden dragon's opponent. Running away was the most effective way. Name Aio and Su say, but where was this place? This was the five-clawed golden dragon's territory. The dragon opened its mouth and a whirlwind soared into the sky and directly swept the third elder back. The third elder fell to the ground in a sorry state. Since he could not run away, he could only resist. He clenched his teeth and waved his iron fan. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The five-clawed golden dragon did not dodge at all. Instead, its eyes were full of contempt. Ding, ding, ding. The hidden weapons all hit the five-clawed golden dragon's golden scales and splashed out sparks. However, the five-clawed golden dragon was not injured at all. Seeing this, the third elder's face was filled with despair. He leaped up and pointed his iron fan at the scales of the five-clawed golden dragon. Sparks flew in all directions, and a huge rebound force caused his arm to tremble. The iron fan flew out of his hand. The difference between the two sides was too obvious. Moreover, the third elder was almost scared out of his wits and did not have much strength to resist. Seeing this, Tang Zheng could not help but sigh. This kind of creature was really too heaven-defying. It actually had such a powerful strength. He wondered who imprisoned him here. The third elder did not have a weapon and his strength was greatly reduced. The five-clawed golden dragon did not bother to continue playing with him. The dragon opened its mouth and bit the third elder. The third elder quickly jumped up to escape. However, the five-clawed golden dragon was much faster than him. Under the dragon's power, the third elder's heart trembled, and there was a kind of fear that came from the bottom of his soul. Crack! The sound of bones cracking could be heard as the sharp dragon teeth bit into the third elder's body. The third elder let out a heart-wrenching scream as he stared in horror at the huge monster in front of him. "Let me go! Let me go! Don't kill me!" The third elder screamed loudly. However, the five-clawed golden dragon's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. It raised its head, and the third elder's figure disappeared from its mouth. Then, with a gulp, the third elder was swallowed into the fifth claw's stomach. Tang Zheng also looked at this scene with some surprise. He didn't expect the five-clawed golden dragon to swallow him in one gulp. This was the real definition of being swallowed alive. The five-clawed golden dragon swallowed the third elder as if nothing had happened. "Skywalker, why didn't Xiao Bai come to accompany me these past few days?" These two mystical beasts seemed to have formed a deep friendship. During this period of time, Xiao Bai was by Lu Qingmei's side, which made the five-clawed golden dragon rather dissatisfied. "It has its own things to do. Bring it back to play with me as soon as possible," the five-clawed golden dragon said discontentedly. Tang Zheng made an N sound, curiously looked at its stomach, and asked, "You ate him. Will you be okay?" The five-clawed golden dragon said disdainfully, "What can happen?" Tang Zheng hurriedly said that it was okay. "Skywalker, it seems that you have provoked a big trouble. Don't be killed before you can let me out." Tang Zheng had an idea and said, "That's not necessarily true. What? Didn't you promise me that you would let me out?" Tang Zheng provoked the martial organization this time. He didn't know how the martial organization would deal with it, but there was no doubt that he would have a lot of trouble in the future. The five-clawed golden dragon was so powerful, he didn't know what kind of special skills they had, so his mind became active. "I did promise you, but if I die in the hands of others first, then I can't fulfill the agreement," Tang Zheng said. The five-clawed golden dragon muttered, "That seems to make sense. No, you are too weak. I have to let you live, otherwise I won't be able to escape." Tang Zheng was overjoyed, but on the surface he said, "Oh, what can you do?" The five-clawed golden dragon proudly said, "I am a dragon. Of course I have a way to let you live. I will teach you a dragon's cultivation technique." Dragon's cultivation technique? Tang Zheng was shocked. Of course, this cultivation technique is called the Dragon God's Secret Art. There are a total of 9 layers, and it is my dragon's supreme secret art. As long as you train hard, it will definitely increase your cultivation faster. The five-clawed golden dragon said solemnly. Tang Zheng was overjoyed and said, "Then I will thank you. Don't just thank me. Remember our agreement." The five-clawed golden dragon reminded him. Then he raised his dragon claw and gently tapped on Tang Zheng's forehead. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out in Tang Zheng's mind, as if something had exploded. A golden light danced in the air, and then intertwined to form a passage of words. This was the cultivation method of the dragon god's secret art. There were only a few thousand words, but it was incomparably profound. The opening was even more profound than the ancient clear heaven scroll. As for what realm you will be able to reach, that will depend on your luck. The five-clawed golden dragon said. Tang Zheng nodded. He read word by word and began to study it. He began to cultivate according to the method. A moment later, a trace of hot air began to circulate in his body. This hot air was completely different from ordinary Zhen Qi. It seemed that the power was much purer, and it flowed side by side with Zhen Qi. But this airflow was still too weak. It was not conspicuous compared to Zhen Qi. The physique of a celestial is indeed precious. You actually have a sense of qi so quickly. The five-clawed golden dragon praised. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. He was not in a hurry to continue cultivating. After bidding farewell to the five-clawed golden dragon, he once again returned to the main hall. At this moment, it was close to evening, and the crowd of tourists were gradually leaving. Tang Zheng mixed in with the crowd and found Feng Xinyang. Feng Xinyang's face was filled with anxiety, but seeing Tang Zheng safe and sound, she could not help but let out a breath of relief and hurriedly asked, Tang Zheng, how are you? Are you okay? Tang Zheng shook his head. Only his right arm was broken, and when he pulled the heaven-shocking bow, he had to endure the pain. Now that he had relaxed, he also felt a bone-piercing pain. Where's that martial sect elder? Let's leave this place first. Right, let's leave first. The old man is already rushing over here. Since you're safe and sound, let's go meet up with him. Tang Zheng was a little surprised. He never thought that Yi Xuanji would actually rush over to save him. Perhaps his relationship with the Ye family was getting tighter and tighter, causing Yi Xuanji to have no choice but to pay more and more attention to him. The two of them got rid of Wu and Li Xiaotian and left the imperial city. Then, they met up with Yi Xuanji and Yi Tianlei. When the two of them met, Yi Xuanji asked impatiently, "Where are the people from the martial sect?" "Dead," Tang Zheng said calmly. "Dead?" The few of them were shocked. The other party was a grandmaster martial artist. How could he die? They all looked at Tang Zheng at the same time. Of course, Tang Zheng would not go into detail. He only said that the martial sect elder had died, and that no one would find his corpse. Furthermore, no one would personally see the martial sect elder die at his hands. Feng Xinyang had a stomach full of questions. Even though Tang Zheng had killed the martial organization elder, there was no movement at all. This was too inconceivable. After all, if the two of them were to engage in an intense battle, they would definitely not be able to escape the detection of Feng Xinyang, Wu, and the rest. However, it was obvious that there were no signs of fighting in the imperial city. How did he do this? Even though she was extremely smart, she could not imagine that Tang Zheng had used an array formation to quietly bring the martial sect elder into the underground of the imperial city. Furthermore, there were too many tourists at that time, so no one noticed that two people had suddenly disappeared. Seeing that Tang Zheng was unwilling to speak in detail, the few of them could not force him. They were only shocked in their hearts, but they also felt that the situation was even more troublesome. The martial sect elder was not an ordinary person. His death would definitely cause a huge uproar and would probably attract the revenge of the martial sect. This would be a disaster for the Ye family. Yi Xuanji looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated gaze. At that time, he was able to rope him in, but in the future, he did not know whether it would be a blessing or a curse. Tang Zheng glanced at Yi Xuanji and saw his hesitation. He said without batting an eyelid, "I'll return to the school first. If the martial sect people come looking for you, you can push the responsibility onto me." Before Yi Xuanji could say anything, Feng Xinyang and Yi Tianlei had already retorted at the same time. "How can that be? You and the Ye family are one. How can we abandon you just because a disaster is about to befall us?" Pausing, Feng Xinyang clenched her teeth and said, "Little handsome brother, no matter what the martial sect wants to do, We will accompany them to the end. Everyone else is afraid of the martial sect, but I am not. At most, we will see just how powerful they are. Feng Xinyang was not afraid of the heavens or the earth. Moreover, Tang Zheng was injured in order to save her, so with her personality, how could she leave him alone? Furthermore, he was her chosen son-in-law, so it was impossible for her to not save him. Yi Tianlei looked at the old man. He understood his father's difficulties, but towards Tang Zheng, he had no reason to back down. He said resolutely, Tang Zheng, your Aunt Feng is right. We will advance and retreat together. If the martial sect really wants to punish us, at most we will fight to the death. Tang Zheng was moved. Facing the martial sect that other families did not dare to provoke, for the two of them to express their stance was already very commendable. Yi Xuanji, who had been silent all this while, raised his head and burst out with a shout, Nonsense! What's the benefit of going against a martial ancestor? Don't look at how strong the Ye family is. If we really angered the martial sect, it would be a disaster for our family. The few of them were speechless. Yi Xuanji continued, Moreover, there is no need to fight to the death. No one saw the death of the martial sect elder. As long as we keep our mouths shut, even if they have suspicions, they will not have any evidence. Although the martial sect is strong, they have to be reasonable. If they do not have any evidence, they will not be able to destroy the Ye family. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang heard this and were overjoyed. They did not give up on Tang Zheng. This meant that Tang Zheng's position in their hearts had been consolidated. Tang Zheng looked at Yi Xuanji in astonishment. All along, he did not have a good impression of Yi Xuanji. Yi Xuanji's considerations were too focused on the gains and losses of benefits. This time, he actually supported him. However, he had to admit that the older the ginger, the spicier. Yi Xuanji's words were very reasonable. Although the martial sect was a large organization and could kill cultivators without fear, and was a great threat to the large families, if the other party wanted to destroy the Ye family without any evidence, it would definitely cause the other families to panic. It would cause them to dislike the martial sect, and the martial sect's prestige would fall to the ground. After understanding the details, everyone temporarily put their hearts back into their stomachs. Tang Zheng was brought back to the Ye family to heal. Just as night fell, the Ye family welcomed an uninvited guest. Chapter 347. These uninvited guests were Wu and Li Xiaotian. The two of them searched the imperial city several times, but were unable to find Tang Jing and the third elder. In the end, even Feng Xinyang disappeared without a trace. Name Aio and Su say the two of them gradually realized that the situation had changed, so they came to the Ye family at the same time. When the two of them saw the bandaged Tang Jing and Feng Xinyang, their expressions were completely different. Li Xiaotian was in disbelief, while Wu's face was even gloomier. Where's the third elder? Wu went straight to the point. Tang Zheng pretended to be at a loss and said, I don't know either. You don't know? Wu's eyes narrowed. She was about the same height as Tang Zheng. Her eyes were like lightning, but Tang Zheng acted as if he did not feel anything and looked at her calmly. The third elder is missing. I can't contact him, but you dare say you don't know. Wu aggressively questioned, Why should I know? He wanted to kill me, so I took advantage of the crowd to slip away. Is there a problem with that? Tang Zheng calmly asked. Wu looked at him suspiciously. In her impression, Tang Zheng was still stuck in the military training. Later on, she found out that he had a great realm master and that he was not weak. As a result, her disgust for Tang Zheng became even stronger. Previously, when the third elder made a move against Tang Zheng, she did not stop him. For those who dared to deceive her, it was already benevolent of her not to kill them with her own hands. The third elder is a great master realm martial artist. How could you slip away under his nose? Furthermore, the third elder has mysteriously disappeared. Hearing that, Feng Xinyang could not help but retort. What do you mean by that? Don't tell me that if that old man wants to kill us, we have to stretch out our necks for him to chop off? Wu glanced at Feng Xinyang and coldly said, In short, this matter is very strange. He can't get away with it. As long as I don't find the third elder, I won't let him off. Feng Xinyang flew into a rage. What do you mean? Do you want to kill someone? I'll say the same thing again. Don't think that you martial arts sect people are the heavenly king and can kill others. If you want to touch Tang Zheng, you'll have to step over my Feng Xinyang's corpse. Marshall did not comment. She looked at Yi Xuanji and asked, does the Ye family want to be enemies with the martial organization? Yi Xuanji was also a little angry in his heart. After all, he was the head of a family and a master-level expert. How could he be threatened by a Xintian realm martial artist like this? He forcefully suppressed his anger and indifferently said, Tang Zheng is the Yi clan's future son-in-law. You guys want to kill him for no reason. This is something that doesn't make sense. Hearing the song, Marshall and Li Xiaotian immediately understood that the Ye family wanted to support Tang Zheng. The two of them understood the reverence the big families had for the three big organizations. This time, the Ye family actually dared to go against the martial organization. This was truly unexpected. Li Xiaotian's eyes narrowed into a thin line. He thought that this play was getting more and more interesting. The decision to come to the capital was really too wise. Marshall's eyes turned cold and said, all right, I will remember your words. Since that is the case, then wait for our sect master to come and talk to you. Marshall left in a huff. She understood that since the Ye family wanted to support Tang Zheng, it was useless for her to stay. After all, she was not Yi Xuanji's opponent. However, Li Xiaotian stayed behind and looked at Tang Zheng with a smile that was not a smile. However, Tang Zheng acted as if he did not see it. This woman did not care about his life and death earlier, and probably wished for him to die. Yi Xuanji did not have any enmity towards Li Xiaotian. Now that he had offended the martial organization, he could not wait to rope in the Li Palace. Thus, he stood up from his chair and walked to Li Xiaotian's side and said, Holy Maiden, you have been in the capital for some time now. He has not done his duty as a host yet. Why don't you stay for dinner? Facing Yi Xuanji's invitation, Li Xiaotian agreed with a smile. Yi Xuanji was secretly happy. Although he did not understand the relationship between Li Xiaotian and Tang Zheng, as long as she was willing to accept his goodwill, it would be the first step to success. The banquet was sumptuous and the host and guests enjoyed themselves. What did you do to the martial organization, elder? Tang Zheng and Li Xiaotian stood in the garden, admiring the fresh flowers while Li Xiaotian pretended to casually ask. Tang Zheng stared at the fresh flowers under the night sky, as if there was a bit of flirtatious beauty, and calmly said, What can I do to him? Humph, you are a cultivator. Cultivators have many mysterious methods, and it is said that they are very powerful. Could it be that you killed him? Tang Zheng's heart thumped. This two-faced woman's intuition was really accurate. However, on the surface, he did not have the slightest flaw, and said, Don't joke around. He is a master-level expert. I can't even beat you. How can I kill him? Maybe she thinks that a small shrimp like me is insignificant and leaves on her own. You are insignificant? Why don't I think so? Tell me, if I tell your identity to the martial organization, will you become very important? Li Xiaotian asked with a smile. Tang Zheng felt a chill in his heart. He turned his head and stared at her. Their eyes met, and there were too many complex feelings in each other's eyes. Tang Zheng secretly made up his mind. If there was a chance, he must kill Li Xiaotian. This woman knew his identity. She was a time bomb, too dangerous. Of course, he could not rashly kill the other. Not to mention that he was not her opponent now. Even if his strength surpassed hers, he must cleverly kill her. He must not attract the attention of others, otherwise, he would fall into great trouble. You want to kill me? Suddenly, Li Xiaotian asked with a smile like a flower. Tang Zheng's heartstrings trembled. This woman was too smart to be able to read his thoughts from his eyes. He hurriedly covered it up and said, You must be joking. You are the high and mighty holy maiden of Li Palace. Who would dare to kill you? Killing you is making an enemy of the Li Palace. Isn't that asking for death? Hee, I didn't say that you would dare to kill me. You just want to kill me. Daring and thinking are two different things. But let me tell you one thing. I don't want to kill you. So give me the heaven-shocking bow as soon as possible. How about we go our separate ways? Pausing for a moment, Li Xiaotian added, Furthermore, I can guarantee that the Li Palace will protect you. Even the martial sect will not dare to do anything to you. All of this, you only need to hand over the heaven-shocking bow. This suggestion was very tempting. Handing over the heaven-shocking bow could resolve the martial sect's troubles once and for all. If his heart was not firm, he would definitely agree to this condition. However, Tang Jing already knew what kind of person Li Xiaotian was, so how could he easily believe her promise? He believed that as long as Li Xiaotian obtained the heaven-shocking bow, she would not hesitate to shoot him to death. This woman's heart was black. Tang Jing acted as if he did not hear anything, and quietly stared at the flower. Li Xiaotian shrugged his shoulders and said, "Let me remind you, the martial sect will not let you off. Don't think that with the Ye family supporting you, you can rest easy." Tang Jing did not comment, as if he did not hear anything. Li Xiaotian left, and Tang Jing followed closely behind. After confirming that he was not followed, he quietly went to Lu Qingmei's house. When she saw the bandage on Tang Jing's arm, she immediately became extremely anxious and pulled him aside to ask questions. Tang Jing did not explain in detail and only looked into her eyes seriously. This was the first time Lu Qingmei had seen Tang Jing so serious and asked, "What's the matter?" "Sister Mei, I want to tell you something very important. This is a matter of life and death. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for you," Tang Jing said in a deep voice. Lu Qingmei's expression became serious and asked, "As long as you tell me, no matter what it is, I am willing to know without any regrets." Tang Jing's head heated up, and he muttered to himself, "Sister Mei, in this world, other than ordinary people, there are two other types of people, martial artists and cultivators. I've heard of martial artists before. They're people with powerful skills. I heard that Yi Dingdong's family are martial artists." Lu Qingmei said. Tang Jing nodded his head and said, "Other than martial artists, there are also cultivators. Cultivators are even more mysterious, and their strength cannot be underestimated." Tang Jing spoke tirelessly, telling her the difference between cultivators and martial artists, as well as the various mysteries of cultivators. This was the result of careful consideration by Tang Jing. Lu Qingmei was an ordinary person, and she had no ability to protect herself. Since he had decided to let her practice magic, of course, he had to tell her these things. Moreover, Tang Jing decided to pass on the dragon god's secret art that he obtained from the five-clawed golden dragon to Lu Qingmei. Currently, he didn't have a suitable cultivation method in his hands. Moreover, the dragon god's secret art was definitely not weaker than the cloud water secret art that Feng Shisha practiced. It was just right for Lu Qingmei to practice this. Lu Qingmei was already stunned, and she looked at him incredulously. These words seemed to have opened another door in front of her, shaking her three views. It turned out that people could really fly over eaves and vault over walls, and they could also use magic. This kind of method was close to that of immortals. Suddenly, she realized a very serious problem and quickly asked, "Tang Jing, are you a cultivator or a martial artist?" "Cultivator," Tang Jing calmly said. "Didn't you say that the relationship between cultivators and martial artists is not good? There is even a martial organization that specializes in hunting cultivators. Doesn't this mean that you are very dangerous?" Lu Qingmei said with concern. Tang Jing nodded. "I am indeed very dangerous. My injuries were caused by the people from the martial organization, but the martial organization is still not clear about my identity as a cultivator, so I am still safe for the time being." Lu Qingmei clutched her chest. In the past 20 years, the things that she had seen were not as big as this information. However, she was very gratified that Tang Jing told her this secret because it was related to his life and death and was the biggest secret. Him confessing to her already showed her position in his heart. Immediately, she felt as if she had eaten honey in the bottom of her heart. "Then what are you going to do now? Will the martial organization still come to deal with you?" "Block soldiers with arms, water with an earthweir. I am fine for the time being, but I am also dancing on a steel wire rope. At any time, I can fall off the cliff and be smashed into pieces." Chapter 348. Hearing her heartfelt words, Tang Jing was very excited and tightly hugged her. At this moment, the two people's hearts were closer than ever before. "Name Aio and Su say, okay. I'll teach you the Dragon God technique. Let's cultivate it together. If the martial organization wants to deal with us, it won't be that easy," Tang Jing said firmly. At this moment, Lu Qingmei remembered that her cultivation technique was called the Dragon God technique. That night, Tang Jing and Lu Qingmei were both cultivating the Dragon God technique. Under Tang Jing's guidance, Lu Qingmei's progress was very fast. Her profounding body was indeed suitable for cultivation. With the help of spirit stones, the two of them reached the first layer of the Dragon God technique. Lu Qingmei directly reached the first grade of the foundation establishment stage. This made Tang Jing overjoyed. Her physique was even better than Feng Shishir's. Moreover, with the help of enough spirit stones, her progress was very fast. Speaking of spirit stones, Tang Jing couldn't help but frown. The air pollution in the capital was very serious, and the heaven and earth spirit chi was even thinner than the ordinary balance. Using the spirit gathering pill to absorb spirit chi to cultivate was not reliable. Moreover, there were many experts in the capital. If the heaven and earth spirit chi fluctuated too violently, his identity would be discovered. Therefore, the spirit gathering pill was temporarily useless and the spirit stones were almost exhausted. If he wanted to quickly increase his cultivation, he had to find a substitute. He racked his brains for a long time and finally decided to look for pills. After searching for 10 days, he found a type of pill called the Dragon Origin Pill. This pill was full of spirituality. It was refined using hundreds of precious medicinal ingredients and the blood of a flood dragon as a catalyst. The Dragon Yuan pill was also a very precious pill in the cultivation world. Because of the flood dragon's blood as a catalyst, the effect was very overbearing and could quickly increase one's cultivation. The flood dragon is not a real dragon, but an existence before the flood dragon turned into a dragon. Using the flood dragon's blood as a catalyst has such an effect. If using the blood of a true dragon as a catalyst, what kind of effect would it have? Tang Jing curiously thought. If other people knew of his thoughts, they would definitely scoff and think that he was crazy. Flood dragon blood was not easy to find, let alone true dragon blood. The dragon was a very unique creature. It was completely different from ordinary demon beasts. Its status in the Xiaoshinsen world was quite high. It was difficult for ordinary cultivators to see a real dragon in their lifetime, let alone obtain the blood of a real dragon. It was simply wishful thinking. Therefore, the person who researched the Dragon Origin Pill used the blood of a flood dragon and did not use the blood of a true dragon. To other people, all of this was a fantasy, but to Tang Jing, it was something that could really be realized. That was because there was a real dragon imprisoned under the imperial city. The true dragon's blood was only a catalyst, so he didn't need much of it. The key was how to persuade the five-clawed golden dragon to voluntarily give up its blood. Otherwise, with Tang Jing's strength, there was no way he could obtain the true dragon's blood. When he returned to the Yinqing University dormitory with this problem, his three brothers looked at him strangely. But when they saw the injury on his arm, they immediately surrounded him and asked about his well-being. Tang Jing smiled and said that it was not a big deal. Only then did the three of them relax, but their expressions were still a little strange. Sinosaurus patted him on the shoulder and said, "Lao San, yesterday you were really outstanding. What divine martial prowess surpassing others?" Tang Jing was confused. Zhou Yin said, "Lao San, you are now a famous person. In the future, you will be a big shot. Don't forget about us in the future." Wang Shiji also had a serious face and said in a serious tone, "OL3, remember? F***CK. What are the three of you doing? Just what is going on?" Tang Jing inexplicably cried out, "You really don't know?" The three of them were incredulous. "What do I know?" Sinosaurus quickly turned on the computer and opened a video. He pointed to Tang Jing and said, "See for yourself." The computer was playing a video. Tang Jing instantly opened his eyes wide. This was the scene of him fighting with the third elder yesterday. How did it get online? This is bad. There must be someone who secretly recorded it and then posted it online. This time he was exposed. What made him even more surprised was the comments and reposts. There were actually tens of thousands of comments. This was definitely the rhythm of becoming popular. Damn, this bro is popular. Tang Jing had a bitter face. He did not want to become popular. He liked to keep a low profile. Moreover, if this kind of battle video was seen by someone, what if they found some clues? Hee hee, Lao San. Now I know that you are popular. The netizens have given you a famous nickname. Kung Fu Bro, Lao San said mischievously. Damn, Kung Fu Bro, who gave this name? They must be so bored that their balls hurt. Your Kung Fu is really too powerful. It is even more beautiful and powerful than in the movies. It makes people's blood boil. Oh right, who is that old man? Tang Zheng shook his head. A madman. But it's already been taken care of. How can I delete this video? Delete it for what? People nowadays can't wait to become famous. Since you have this opportunity, of course you have to seize it. As long as this topic is hyped up, your reputation will be famous. In the future, there will be reporters, television stations, and film companies looking for you. And then you will become a big shot celebrity. Haha, this time, the few of us can also benefit from it. Lao San, why don't I be your manager in the future? Zhou Yin was also eager to give it a try. Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If he wanted to become famous, he wouldn't have been unwilling to expose himself even though he was the top scorer in the exam. In the end, he gave the opportunity to Takashi. Lao Si, how can you fight with me? Of course, this manager belongs to me. Sinosaurus volunteered. Lao Air, you are tall and strong. Being Lao San's bodyguard is not bad. For example, in the future, you will be responsible for the pursuit and interception of those fans. Zhou Yin said, that's a good suggestion. Wang Shiji nodded in agreement with a serious expression. Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Stop messing around. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be famous. The few of them looked suspiciously at Tang Zheng, confirming that he was not joking. They were all surprised, young people, who did not want to be famous, who did not want to be loved and respected by others. But Tang Zheng was actually not moved by fame and fortune. He was truly a freak. Lao San, it's too late if you don't want to be famous. Moreover, this incident has caused a lot of discussion about martial arts. Some of the so-called experts and sect leaders of the martial arts sects on the internet have said that you are faking it. It is impossible for a person's martial arts to be that powerful. This has caused a lot of debate among the netizens. Zhou Yin said helplessly. Sinosaurus curled his lips and said disdainfully, I think those experts and sect leaders are all people fishing for fame. They are not as powerful as Lao San, so they are just making sarcastic remarks and slandering him. They are really too despicable. Wang Shiji said, but there are still a lot of people who support Lao San. Of course, the eyes of the masses are bright. Tang Zheng shook his head. He really did not know how this matter would ferment. He could no longer control the things on the internet, but this reminded him that he had to be more cautious in the future and not let others catch him. After a day of classes, the few of them walked downstairs to the dormitory building and found a few people carrying cameras guarding the entrance. Tang Zheng was stunned. Damn, he really attracted the attention of the people from the television station. In this moment of shock, a few reporters immediately noticed him and rushed over. They handed the microphone directly to Tang Zheng's mouth and asked in rapid succession, "Excuse me, are you Kung Fu Bro?" Seeing that Tang Zheng did not answer, the other party asked again, "Kung Fu Bro, may I ask if your Kung Fu is real?" "Sorry, I don't accept interviews." Tang Zheng wanted to walk away from the side, but how could the experienced reporter let him do as he wished? The female reporter had already used her body to block the entrance and did not let Tang Zheng enter. She continued to ask, "Between you and that old man, who won and who lost in the end?" "I can't announce it. Sorry, I have to go back to the dormitory." Tang Zheng refused. But the reporter was the best at chasing and did not let him go. She said, "Kung Fu Bro, I heard that the Huaxia Martial Arts Association is looking for you. May I ask if they have contacted you? Will you consider joining them? And the annual martial arts convention is about to begin. Will you participate?" Of course not. Tang Zheng learned real skills, not the showy martial arts on TV. Why would he participate in some Huaxia martial arts convention? "I just want to be a quiet student. Please don't disturb me." Tang Zheng said helplessly, "Kung Fu Bro, a lot of people on the internet like you. They hope that you will stand up for Huaxia's martial arts and win glory for the country. Don't let down your skills." The reporter said sincerely, "And I am also a martial arts enthusiast. Although I don't know martial arts, I, like many others, believe in the authenticity of Huaxia's martial arts and its actual combat ability. It is not as showy as some people say. The more the reporter spoke, the more excited she became. It was obvious that she had put her own personal feelings into it. Now more and more people don't believe in the inheritance left by their ancestors. Instead, they believe in imported goods, especially martial arts. If we don't do something, I'm afraid that in another 10 or 20 years, Huaxia's martial arts will really withdraw from the stage of history and those imported goods will become popular. This is simply a disgrace. When Tang Zheng heard this, his face became serious. When he was an ordinary person, he also believed that Huaxia had truly powerful martial arts, but there were many people around him who scoffed at it and thought it was nonsense. At that time, he was also very sad and often complained about why those experts did not make a move. Why did they hide and not prove their country's heritage? This was simply condoning those imported goods to become popular. But now, he had also become an expert. Although he was not a real martial artist, his ability was not inferior to a martial artist. He had the ability to prove Huaxia's martial arts and give many people a kind of belief and confidence, allowing Huaxia's martial arts to truly rise and go further. Seeing that the reporter was so serious and even had a pleading look on his face, Tang Zheng was silent and his gaze gradually became serious. The reporter was not in a hurry and looked at him without blinking. He did not know if he would give those who still believed in Huaxia's martial arts a boost of confidence. Many thoughts and worries flashed through Tang Zheng's mind. In the end, he made a decision. Chapter 349. Tang Zheng looked at the expectant reporters and said in a deep voice, "I will reiterate that I will not join any martial arts organization that only knows how to show off. However, if there is a chance to prove Huaxia's martial arts, I am willing to do my best. Zish Di will eat well." The reporter was overjoyed and said, "Thank you, Kung Fu Bro. All the martial arts enthusiasts in the country will thank you. After so many years, no one has stood up for martial arts, and you have done a deed of boundless virtue." Tang Zheng smiled and said, "I am not as noble as you say. I am only doing what I can. However, I can tell those doubters that you all swear that Huaxia's martial arts are all showy but useless. I want to tell you that you are very wrong. There are many real experts in the country, but they do not care about your cliches." The reporter was so excited that his eyes turned red and said, "What you said is very good. However, if someone challenges you, will you accept the challenge?" "Yes, I will use my own strength to prove the fighting strength of Huaxia's martial arts," Tang Zheng solemnly promised. The reporter left satisfied. His words were quickly published. Suddenly, the debate about Chinese martial arts intensified and became the hottest topic on the internet. However, the doubters were still unwilling to give up. They said that Tang Zheng was just playing to the gallery and was an embroidered pillow. However, Tang Zheng was like an outsider. He completely ignored the debate on the internet. Although his roommates mentioned it to him a few times, he just laughed it off. However, the situation was far more complicated than he imagined. The next day, a middle-aged man with a bulging belly found him and claimed to be the vice president of the Huaxia Martial Arts Association. The vice president did not have the slightest bit of respect for Tang Zheng. This was because Tang Zheng said in front of the reporters that Huaxia Martial Arts Association was an organization that only knew how to show off. Although this was the truth, after all, being slapped in the face by Tang Zheng like this made this group of people lose face. Moreover, the Huaxia Martial Arts Association was a semi-official organization. Many of the chairman and vice-chairman had official identities, and many of the consultants were the leaders of the major sections. All these years, the right to speak had been controlled by them. Now, a young man had come out and said that they were all flowers and no substance. Although this was the truth, how could they not be angry when it was exposed like this? "Tang Zheng, you're still so young. Why are you saying such irresponsible things? This is an insult to the entire martial arts world. Do you know that? The impact is extremely bad." The vice president reprimanded harshly. Tang Zheng had figured out the reason for the other party's anger, so he showed disdain. These people, who usually only knew how to cheat the country's policies and money, also dared to talk about bad influence and so on. It was really a case of a thief crying thief. If it weren't for these people adding fuel to the fire and turning martial arts into dance arts, Huaxia's martial arts wouldn't have been rejected by so many people and landed in such an awkward situation. Zishdi can eat, I'll return those words to you. You know very well whether I'm lying or not, Tang Zheng retorted without holding back. The vice-chairman was a government official, not a martial arts practitioner. Deep down, he did not believe that Tang Zheng was that powerful. Although he had seen the videos circulating on the internet, the current filming technology was so advanced that an ordinary person could become a master with just some editing. Moreover, there were so many people hyping things up on the internet, so he did not believe that Tang Zheng was that powerful. He thought that Tang Zheng was just a sensationalist. Seeing Tang Zheng's attitude, the vice-chairman's face sank. Is this your attitude? I will make you regret what you said today. After saying that, he flicked his sleeves and left. Not long after, the Huaxia Martial Arts Association issued an official statement that Tang Zheng was just a clown. It was just a hype and told everyone not to believe his words. This time, the people who originally scoffed at martial arts seized the opportunity and attacked Tang Zheng like a storm, while the people who supported Tang Zheng vigorously refuted. The two groups of people quarreled on the internet until people were thrown off their feet. The person involved, Tang Zheng, did not pay attention to these gossip. Under the curtain of night, he sneaked into the underground of the imperial city and discussed the matter of the dragon origin pill with the 5-clawed golden dragon. Presumptuous, you are too bold. You actually have the idea of using my blood to refine pills. This is an insult to the dragon clan. The 5-clawed golden dragon was high above as he angrily complained. The eruption of the dragons might made Tang Zheng feel a strong pressure. However, he did not back down and earnestly advised, Golden Dragon, not long after, the people from the martial sect will come to kill me. If my cultivation does not increase quickly, then I will be very passive and my life will be in danger. Didn't I teach you the Dragon God technique? I have only cultivated to the first stage of the Dragon God technique. Although this technique is very powerful, it can't make me stronger overnight. So only the Dragon Origin pill is the most useful thing for me. Moreover, I don't want your life. I just want a few drops of your blood as a medicinal primer. The 5-clawed golden dragon stared at Tang Zheng with his lantern-sized eyes, as if he was weighing his words. After a long while, he still said indignantly, the life of the dragon clan is very precious. Even blood cannot be given to others casually. Tang Zheng rolled his eyes and said, Don't tell me you weren't injured when you fought with others and didn't bleed at all? The 5-clawed golden dragon hesitated. My cultivation will increase quickly, and then I will let you regain your freedom. Isn't this killing 2 birds with 1 stone? The 5-clawed golden dragon's eyes changed. Finally, he snorted and said indignantly, You humans are so cunning. Fine, I promise you. But I will tell you, this is the only time. Although Tang Zheng felt that it was a pity, there was nothing he could do. With a wave of his hand, the 9 revolving pill furnace flew out. I will immediately start refining the pill. When I need the dragon blood, I will tell you. The 5-clawed golden dragon looked at him curiously and said, You have a lot of skills. You even know how to refine pills. Tang Zheng pointed his finger, and a ball of flame ignited on his finger. It was a 2nd-grade true fire. Although his cultivation had increased a lot compared to before, the grade of his true fire did not break through. However, using a 2nd-grade true fire to refine pills was more than enough. A large bag of medicinal ingredients that had been prepared long ago was thrown into the pill furnace. With a boom, a flame rose from the pill furnace and completely enveloped the medicinal ingredients. Hiss! The medicinal properties of the medicinal ingredients were pulled out like silk from a cocoon, and the dregs disappeared under the burning of the 2nd-grade true fire. In the end, all the medicinal properties of the medicinal ingredients were gathered together and turned into a fist-sized liquid ball. It was suspended in the pill furnace and rapidly rotated. Now, drop the dragon blood into the 9 revolving pill furnace, Tang Zheng said loudly. The 5-clawed golden dragon stretched out its dragon claw, and its originally golden scales suddenly turned blood red. A drop of dragon blood seeped out from the scales and dripped into the pill furnace. A ray of blood soared into the sky, and even covered the color of the true fire. The entire hall was dyed in a blood-red color. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. The true dragon blood was indeed extraordinary. He could clearly feel the strange power contained within that drop of dragon blood. The Dragon Yuan pill was much more complicated than the spirit-gathering pill, so Tang Jing formed a seal with both hands and quickly slapped the pill furnace. Pong, 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 pong. A few muffled sounds rang out as the pill furnace began to rapidly rotate. The spiritual qi between heaven and earth became chaotic, as if a storm was raging as it continuously poured into the pill furnace. A few hours later, the pill furnace stopped rotating. A ball of golden light slowly rose from the pill furnace and a fragrance filled the entire space. It made people feel as if they were floating in the air. The five-clawed golden dragon glanced at him and said, "Skywalker, your alchemy skills are not bad. You can actually refine such a high-grade Dan." Tang Zheng was secretly delighted. This was his only chance to refine the Dragon Yuan pill. In the future, it would not be easy to persuade the five-clawed golden dragon to take the Dragon Blood's initiative. He quickly leaned over and saw 10 glittering Dragon Yuan pills quietly lying in the pill furnace. They were emitting an enticing aura. 10 Dragon Yuan pills. This was the result of one refining session. It was much less than when he refined the spirit-gathering pill. Back when the 9 revolving pill furnace was not a profound grade magic treasure, he could refine more than 20 spirit-gathering pills at once. But now that the 9 revolving pill furnace's grade had increased, he could only refine 10 Dragon Yuan pills. This was enough to show how difficult it was to refine the Dragon Yuan pill. There was a truth in alchemy. The more precious the Dan was, the more difficult it was to refine. The Dragon Yuan pill was undoubtedly a precious Dan. Tang Zheng carefully put away the 10 Dragon Yuan pills and then left the imperial city. The sky was getting brighter. Before he had time to go to Lu Qingmei's house to share the joy of the Dragon Yuan pill with her, he received a call from Sinosaurus. Sinosaurus called early in the morning. There must be something urgent. Sinosaurus shouted, "Third brother, someone has sent you a letter of challenge. They want to challenge you." A letter of challenge? Tang Zheng was confused. Could it be that those fake goods from the Huaxiao Martial Arts Association dared to send him a letter of challenge? Wasn't that just asking for humiliation? He knew what the Huaxiao Martial Arts Association had done in the past few days. The other party had issued an official statement more than once to accuse Tang Zheng of malicious speculation and tarnishing the reputation of the Martial Arts Association. They wanted to hold him responsible. Tang Zheng brushed it off with a smile. This time, he heard that someone had sent him a letter of challenge. He couldn't help but be curious and asked, "Who sent me a letter of challenge?" Sinosaurus chuckled and kept him in suspense. He said, "Third brother, isn't the Martial Arts Society convention about to start? And your matter has pushed the Huaxiao Martial Arts Association to the forefront of the storm. Moreover, the Martial Arts Association's face has been ruined by you. So in order to save face, they want to hold this Martial Arts Society convention as a global competition and invite all the martial arts fans in the world to compete." Hee, this group of people from the Martial Arts Association really think of themselves as officials. They think that everyone will give them face. They took the initiative to send invitations to many experts from other countries, inviting them to come to the capital to participate in the Martial Arts Society convention. Most people ignored them because these experts know that the people from the Martial Arts Association are all showy and impractical. Competing with them for the so-called championship is an insult to themselves. In the end, the Martial Arts Association didn't even invite a single expert. However, an unexpected piece of news came out later. A Muay Thai expert saw your video, so he named you and sent you a letter of challenge. He will only participate if you participate in the Martial Arts Society convention. Chapter 350. When Tang Zheng returned to school, his roommates were already waiting for him. The three of them looked rather excited, and Tang Zheng asked curiously, "What is the background of this Muay Thai expert?" Sinosaurus said as if he was presenting a treasure, "I just checked online. This person is called Sampa. He is the #1 expert in Thailand. He debuted in his teens. He is invincible. He is the champion of all kinds of boxing competitions. It is said that he often goes to the underground boxing ring to fight and refine his martial arts. He is very powerful. He can kick a tree as thick as a bowl with one leg. Zhou Yin sighed. Muay Thai is a powerful leg technique. This person's legs are like steel and iron bones. They are invincible. So what? I feel that this Sampa is not a match for OL3. Wang Shiji said in a nutshell. Sinosaurus laughed out loud. Of course, who is OL3? He is the #1 fierce person in our archaeology department, the #1 person in Muay Thai. He will still beat him down. And then? Tang Jing asked. Hee. After that, it became even more exciting. The Martial Arts Association invited a true expert and ignored them. Ever since this Sampa jumped out, the experts of the other countries also responded one after another, saying that you have to participate before they can participate. This has caused the officials of the Martial Arts Association to worry. Sinosaurus said gloatingly, "What countermeasures do they have? What else can there be? Countermeasures? Just drag it out." In any case, there is no reply yet. I don't know what decision they will make in the end. Zhou Yin said disdainfully. Let's see how long they can drag it out. They can't possibly keep covering their ears and pretending to be cowards. Wang Shiji said. Ding ling ling. The phone rang again, but this time it was the reporter. His voice was even more excited as he explained the situation to Tang Zheng. In the end, he said indignantly, those people from the Martial Arts Association are too despicable. They just issued a statement saying that your kung fu is a lie and that they will definitely not invite you to the martial arts conference. The Muay Thai expert, Sampa, has already issued a challenge, yet they still say that your kung fu is not practical and that you are a liar. I think they have ulterior motives. They don't want to revitalize Hua Xia's martial arts. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat. He asked, since the other party has come to challenge us, will it be of any use if we continue to deceive ourselves like this? Don't you know what they're thinking? No matter if you win or lose, they will lose face, so they might as well not let you participate at all. This way, they can rest easy. The reporter exposed the sinister intentions of the Martial Arts Association. They don't care about the responsibility of revitalizing Hua Xia's martial arts. They only care about their own interests. If I accept the challenge, what should I do? Tang Zheng asked in a deep voice. The reporter was shocked and quickly asked, you accept the challenge? Are you confident in winning? That Sampa is not simple. Tang Zheng smiled faintly and asked, do you think I can win? Of course I believe in you. I believe in Hua Xia's martial arts. The reporter said confidently, that's enough. Just tell me how to accept the challenge. Only then can we push this matter to the highest level of public opinion. Tang Jing asked. With the arrival of the Martial Arts Association in Beijing, it was impossible for Tang Zheng to keep a low profile. Thus, he simply used this martial arts convention to express his presence to the world. Moreover, this martial arts convention could more effectively link his identity with a martial artist and not a cultivator. Hearing this, the reporter pondered for a while and said, if we want to push this matter to the highest level of public opinion, then we need to publicize it in all directions. If you are not worried, our newspaper can issue a letter of acceptance on your behalf. If the Martial Arts Association is willing to be a coward, then we will do it ourselves. Then I'll leave this matter to you. Don't worry, I will definitely do this matter well. I believe that this will be the most important thing in my career as a reporter. The reporter was extremely excited. Tang Zheng's statement was published on the internet on the same day, and the print media also followed up. Every newspaper and magazine reprinted Tang Zheng's statement, accepting the challenge of the Muay Thai master Sampa, and was willing to accept any boxing master from any country to prove to the world the strength and charm of Hua Xia's martial arts. This was Tang Zheng challenging the experts of the world. This kind of domineering action immediately made the public extremely excited, as if they had eaten an aphrodisiac. The supporters of Hua Xia's martial arts were all shouting excitedly. They volunteered to support Tang Zheng on the internet, and many people responded. Brother Kung Fu's name was even more resounding, even comparable to many big stars. However, there were also many doubters. Many people hurled insults at Tang Zheng, thinking that he was just playing to the gallery. These people were waiting to see Tang Zheng make a fool of himself. The people who were the most angry were the people of the Martial Arts Association. They did not recognize Tang Zheng's strength, and even thought that his kung fu was showy and impractical, just to deceive laymen. But this time, Tang Zheng directly bypassed them and challenged the experts of the world, which was equivalent to slapping them in the face. For so many years, no one had ever dared to do this, because the real martial arts masters did not bother to pay attention to this group of clowns. The Martial Arts Association immediately issued an official statement saying that Tang Zheng was discrediting martial arts. When the time came, his showy and impractical skills would not be able to defeat the experts of other countries. That would be a great sin, and this was the sinister intention of the foreign forces. They told everyone to be on guard and not let Tang Zheng succeed. Tang Zheng's counterattack was also very fast. Through the reporters, if the people of the Martial Arts Association thought that he was not qualified, then they could challenge him first. This made the public even more heated, but the statements of the experts of other countries who accepted the challenge one by one pushed this matter to the highest level. The experts of all kinds of boxing from other countries accepted the challenge one after another, and they were about to come to Huaxia to accept Tang Zheng's challenge. This was equivalent to them admitting that Tang Zheng's level was not showy and impractical like what the Martial Arts Association said, but real kung fu. The Martial Arts Association was immediately silenced. Only then did they realize that Tang Zheng's kung fu was not fake, but real kung fu. These officials who only knew showy and impractical kung fu immediately knew that they were in a dilemma. The martial arts competition they held immediately became a laughingstock, and no one dared to challenge Tang Zheng. This matter made Tang Zheng even more popular in Yinqing University, and he became a real celebrity. Everywhere he went, people pointed at him and talked about him. Many people even directly came up to him to cheer him on, telling him that he must ruthlessly teach those foreign boxers a lesson. Tang Zheng tasted the taste of being a celebrity, but his mentality was very calm. This made Li Xiaotian, who was still following him, snort disdainfully. "You're a cultivator. What's the point of bullying those so-called experts?" Tang Zheng shook his head. "How am I bullying them? To be honest, there are also experts in other countries, such as the island nation. You also saw the strength of the other party in the 100,000 mountains. They are real experts. You're only at the foundation establishment stage. If you provoke the experts of those countries like this, aren't you asking for trouble? What if you lose?" Li Xiaotian asked in confusion. "There are some things in this world that have to be done. If others don't do it, I won't do it either. Then no one will do it." In the past, it was because of this that Huaxia's martial arts fell into such an awkward situation. Although I'm not a martial artist, I also have a martial arts dream since I was young. I want to do something for martial arts as much as I can. Tang Zheng's words were sincere. When Li Xiaotian heard this, her expression changed slightly. She was a martial artist, but she had never thought about this problem. She didn't care about other people's views on martial artists. As for the decline of Huaxia's martial arts, it had nothing to do with her. However, after hearing Tang Zheng's words, she couldn't help but feel a little ashamed. The dignity of Huaxia's martial arts had to be protected by a cultivator. Your intentions are very good, but some people might not understand you. Don't you see that the people from the Martial Arts Association have been slandering you?" Li Xiaotian said. Tang Zheng laughed unconcernedly. "There will always be a few clowns in this world. If I pay attention to them, wouldn't I be looking for trouble? I just need to do my own thing. Aren't you afraid that the martial sect will come to deal with you again? As long as you don't reveal my identity, the martial sect will always be afraid of me. In fact, the more famous I am, the more cautious the martial sect will be." Tang Zheng laughed. "Oh, so that's your plan. You're quite smart." The two of them did not continue to chat because he was informed to go to the academy's office building. In the office building, he saw Yin Liang and another middle-aged man. The man frowned and stared at Tang Zheng with hostility. Yin Liang looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated expression. The last time Tang Zheng was humiliated in front of Qi Shaowen, the dean even criticized him. This made him secretly hate Tang Zheng. However, Tang Zheng had Qi Shaowen's support. There was nothing Yin Liang could do to him. This time, Tang Zheng had caused a big stir and became the focus of public opinion. He had also slapped the Martial Arts Association hard in the face. Yin Liang hated and was afraid of Tang Zheng. However, He could hold his head high today. He was secretly excited because the chairman of the Martial Arts Association, Yu Zhangkue, had come to the academy and criticized Tang Zheng in front of the school leaders. Yu Zhangkue was not an ordinary person. He was a real official. He was the head of the Martial Arts Association and a deputy director. He had single-handedly promoted the establishment of the Martial Arts Association. Yin Liang was the tutor of Tang Zheng's cohort. In the end, he was entrusted with an important task by the academy. Yin Liang was asked to cooperate with Yu Zhangkue to deal with Tang Zheng's matter. Yin Liang had an imperial sword. He said arrogantly, "Tang Zheng, you've caused such a big trouble this time. You've brought shame to the academy and the Martial Arts Association. Do you know what you've done wrong?" Tang Zheng was baffled. This Yin Liang's criticism caused his anger to burst out with a whoosh. He did not have the slightest bit of good expression as he retorted, "Humph, you're trying to put a big hat on me, right? You're not qualified." Yin Liang had a bad reputation. Tang Zheng heard that he had accepted many gifts from the student union cadres before promising them positions. Yin Liang was delighted. "The more you jump, the happier I am. This way, you'll be able to prove your arrogance to the chairman of the Martial Arts Association. Let's see what he'll do to you. You think I can't do anything to you just because you have Qi Shaowen's support? You're wrong. You're too naive. This society is too complicated. There are thousands of ways to mess with you. This is a godsend." Chapter 351. Tang Zheng raised his eyebrows and looked at the person he had never met. He retorted, "Where are your manners?" "Nonsense. This is simply nonsense. Are the students from Yinqing University all like this?" Yu Zhangkue flew into a rage. This kind of official, who was used to being high and mighty, was obviously flustered and exasperated when he saw a young person dare to challenge his authority. "Tang Zheng, this is the chairman of the Martial Arts Association, Yu Zhangkue. You are being too presumptuous with your words." Yin Liang reprimanded sternly as he tried his best to defend Yu Zhangkue's authority. Tang Zheng's gaze turned cold. The other party was actually the chairman of the Martial Arts Association. In other words, he was the one who had repeatedly declared that Tang Zheng's martial arts were showy but impractical, saying that he was trying to please the crowd with claptrap. Tang Zheng's face gradually revealed an evil expression. He clasped his hands and said, "So it's the chairman of the Martial Arts Association. Nice to meet you." Seeing Tang Zheng's expression soften, as though he was about to give in, Yu Zhangkue's face revealed a pleased expression. He thought to himself that his reputation was indeed great. This immature brat was still afraid of him after all. Yin Liang's expression darkened. This brat actually knew how to be afraid. It was too unexpected. This way, it would not be able to intensify their conflict. "Humph, Tang Zheng, immediately go and make a statement. Obey the management of the Writers' Association and cancel the arranged battle with those people," Yu Zhangkue said arrogantly. Tang Zheng found it a little funny. This person really thought he was a big shot. He was not in a hurry to fall out with him. Instead, he asked, "Oh, what other requests do you have?" Yu Zhangkue's expression became even more arrogant as he said, "In addition, apologize to the Martial Arts Association in public. Apologize for your irresponsible words in the past and apologize for tarnishing the reputation of the Martial Arts Association." "Is that so? What else?" Tang Zheng asked with a smile. His eyes narrowed into a thin line, as if he was harmless to humans and animals. Li Xiaotian stood at the side without saying a word, watching with great interest. When she saw Tang Zheng's expression, the corners of her mouth also curled up into a faint smile, as if she was watching a good show. Also, Yu Zhangkue was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect Tang Zheng to be so tactful. He paused for a moment and said, "I haven't thought of anything else yet. When we think of something, we'll let you know." The smile on Tang Zheng's face grew wider, but there was a trace of coldness in his eyes as he said, "Since Chairman Yu is a senior, then I have a presumptuous request." "Oh, what is it? Tell me." Yu Zhangkue thought that he had completely taken the initiative and intimidated Tang Zheng. "I want to ask you about your martial arts," Tang Zheng said firmly. "Ask you about my martial arts?" Yu Zhangkue was stunned for a moment. He only knew a little bit of martial arts, so how could he be a match for Tang Zheng? Moreover, He was relying on his status as an official and not his real martial arts. However, he concealed it very well and said in a dignified manner, "Your humble attitude to learn is good, but I can't bully a junior. It wouldn't be good if I hurt you." Tang Jing obviously knew what the other party was capable of, so he wouldn't be deceived by the other party's few words. He said, "I'm not worried about getting hurt. Please enlighten me." Tang Jing's 2 feet moved forward, closing the distance between them, almost touching Yu Zhangkui's face. Yu Zhangkui was shocked and hurriedly retreated. But how could Tang Jing let him escape? With lightning speed, he directly grabbed the other party's arm, and with a kacha sound, the other party's 2 arms were directly removed, limp and powerless as they drooped, and his face revealed a look of fear and pain. You dashed before Yu Zhangkui could finish his sentence. Tang Jing's 2 palms had already landed on his chest, and with a pong sound, Yu Zhangkui was sent flying, crashing into the wall in a sorry state. Yu Zhangkui screamed miserably. Yin Liang was so scared that he sat down on the ground. This scene was completely out of his expectations. More importantly, Tang Jing's fierce attacks made him dumbstruck. Only now did he realize how terrifying Tang Jing's strength was. If he targeted Tang Jing, then if Tang Jing did the same to him, then his life would be in danger. "You dare to hurt me? I will sue you. I will have Yinqing University expel you." Yu Zhangkui roared. Tang Jing disdainfully said, "Sue me? Then go ahead and sue me. Didn't you call yourself a senior? It's not wrong for me to ask you for guidance, right? If I hurt you, then it can only be because you are not as skilled as others." Yu Zhangkui was speechless. Let me tell you, if you want to put on airs in front of me, then you are still too inexperienced. Your martial arts association's inaction these past few years has harmed Hua Xia's martial arts. You should be clear about it. If you have any moves, then feel free to use them. I will receive them one by one. As for you wanting me to quit school, then let's see if you have the qualifications." After saying this, his eyes turned cold as he stared at Yin Liang. Yin Liang's entire body went cold. He trembled as he retreated and said, "Tang Jing, what are you doing?" "Instructor Yin, I have no grudges with you in the past. If you really treat me as a student that you can bully as you please, then let me tell you, you will be very miserable. You better look out for yourself. Students don't come to school to be yelled at, and do whatever you want. Tang Jing, you misunderstand. I have no intention of targeting you." Yin Liang shook his head like a rattle drum as he denied. You know very well." Tang Jing and Li Xiaotian left the school's office building. "You're not afraid that President Yu will take revenge on you? I don't think he is a good person. You hurt him and also made him lose face. He will not let this go." Li Xiaotian asked with a smile that was not a smile. Tang Jing shrugged and said, "That is exactly what I want. I am looking forward to his revenge. Only then will it involve his interests. Don't you think the Martial Arts Association's actions these past few years are strange?" "Oh, what's strange?" Li Xiaotian asked curiously. The Li Palace was well informed, but they had never paid attention to an unimportant organization like the Martial Arts Association. The Martial Arts Association holds this so-called martial arts convention. Just how many so-called experts have been invited? They are fooling the common people, but the common people are not stupid. They gradually see through the true colors of these so-called experts, so the martial arts conventions are becoming less and less interesting. There are not many people paying attention to them. Many of the common people even think that Hua Xia's martial arts are gimmicks and have no fighting power. They are incomparable to those foreign martial arts. In this way, isn't the Martial Arts Association cutting off their own path of retreat? Tang Jing analyzed. Li Xiaotian looked puzzled. "I have never thought of this problem before. Listening to your analysis, isn't the Martial Arts Association's actions contradictory? It does not suit their interests at all. There must be a reason for this abnormality. There must be something fishy going on here. It is just that I have not yet figured out what is strange about it." As he spoke, Yu Zhangkui walked out of the office building with his arms drooping. His face was dark and ruthless. At this moment, a car stopped in front of him. He got in and left. "What should we do? Since there are so many strange things, of course we should chase after him and see what is going on." Didn't you say that he would not let this go? Let's go and see what kind of revenge he will take, Tang Jing said. Li Xiaoyan's eyes lit up. She was a fearless person, so she nodded readily. Okay, let's go. The other party's speed was not very fast. The two of them followed like a whirlwind. From afar, they saw the car enter a high-end villa. The two of them quietly climbed in and sneaked into the villa. Immediately, they heard Yu Zhangkui's angry voice. I must kill that brat. He dared to hurt me. I will not let him have it easy. This Tang Zheng is not an ordinary person. You have not heard of his name, so you suffered at his hands, the other person said. Tang Jing and Li Xiaotian saw the owner of this voice. It was a white man. His appearance was very different from the Huaxia people. Tang Jing and Li Xiaotian looked at each other. They both felt the other's doubts. How did this Yu Zhangkui get together with a foreigner? Tang Jing had a flash of inspiration. He seemed to have understood something. Mr. Wales, what is the background of that brat? Yu Zhangkui asked curiously. His background is not simple. He is a true martial artist and has a close relationship with the Ye family, Wales said. Tang Zheng was shocked when he heard this. This foreigner actually knew him so well, and even knew about his relationship with the Ye family. His incident at Dragon Elephant Mountain caused an uproar in the city, but after all, it was only spread in a small circle of the upper echelons. Normal people did not know. But this foreigner actually knew, which meant that the other party's identity was not ordinary. You are talking about the Ye family in the capital? Yu Zhangkui was shocked. Other than this Ye family, who else dares to call themselves the Ye family? Wales smiled mysteriously. He has such a strong backing. Then how do we fight him? Yu Zhangkui's face was ashen. Don't you have us behind you? With us behind you, even if it is the Ye family, what is there to be afraid of? Wales said fearlessly. Tang Zheng was slightly shocked. What was the background of this Wales? He was not even afraid of the Ye family. One had to know that against a huge family like the Ye family, normal forces would not be able to resist at all. Yu Zhangkui seemed to remember Wales' background. The fear on his face gradually receded. He squeezed out a smile and said, Yes, with Mr. Wales' help, the Ye family is nothing to be afraid of. Moreover, it is not just the Ye family in the capital. The other families have been eyeing the Ye family for a long time. We are not fighting alone. We have an alliance. When the time comes to deal with the Ye family together, Tang Zheng will not be a threat. Only death will await him, Wales said confidently. Yu Zhangkui's eyes lit up and said, Yes, we must kill this kid. Just do your own thing. The martial arts convention must continue to be held. We must make the people lose all faith in Huaxia. Only then can the martial arts of Huaxia truly disappear from this world. An unnatural expression flashed across Yu Zhangkui's face. Chapter 352. Yu Zhangkui was convinced. He clenched his teeth and nodded. All right, since we've already reached this step, let's do this one last time. When the time comes, I'll go abroad to reunite with my family. Contempt flashed through Wales' eyes. These Huaxia people who only had benefits in their eyes. They completely disregarded the essence left behind by their ancestors and abandoned it like a worn-out shoe. No wonder there were still so many people in the world who looked down on them. Tang Jing and Li Xiaotian were shocked to the core. These two people actually colluded together for their own benefits. It was too shameless. No wonder there were so many people criticizing Huaxia martial arts these past few years, and it was a one-sided order. It turned out that there were external forces adding fuel to the fire. Li Xiaotian's eyes were filled with murderous intent. She wanted to rush out and end these two people, but Tang Zheng stopped her and shook his head at her. Li Xiaotian snorted and held back. Huaxia martial arts are the soul and courage of the people of this country. If we eliminate Huaxia martial arts, then this nation and this country will have no soul. In the future, we will return to this land and take the resources of this land for ourselves. Haha, Chairman you've made great contributions. We won't forget you. Wales didn't hide his intentions and laughed loudly. Yu Zhangkui smiled embarrassedly and revealed an awkward expression. Chairman Yu Zhangkui, you're a person of the Western Empire in the future. This is all your contribution. You should be happy. This society follows the law of the jungle. This country is too weak, and should be eliminated. Whales patted Yu Zhangkui's shoulder and said. Yu Zhangkui took a deep breath and said as if relieved of a burden, "Yes, I understand. Don't worry, Mr. Whales. I will definitely take care of this matter." Tang Jing and Li Xiaotian left the villa. Li Xiaotian asked indignantly, "Why didn't you let me kill these two traitors?" "What's the point of killing them?" Tang Jing asked. "Of course it's useful. This kind of person shouldn't exist in this world. I originally thought that Yu Zhangkui was just a guy fishing for fame. I didn't expect him to be so much more than that. He's a traitor who betrayed the interests of his country." Although the Li Palace was a mysterious organization that basically didn't care about worldly affairs, they were still Huaxia people. What Wales was scheming wasn't just a little bit of benefits, but the entire country and its people. This was an attempt to destroy the country and its people. This was not the physical destruction of the Huaxia people, but the spiritual destruction of their beliefs. This was the most dangerous thing. Without the spiritual support of a person, a nation could only be reduced to walking corpses. You killed Yu Zhangkui and the other Zhang Zhangkui. Zhao Zhangkui colluded with them. Can you kill them all? Li Palace glared and said, "Don't tell me there aren't any true patriots in this country. Of course there are. But this country has a lot of people, and there are also a lot of vermin. That's why we have to kill this conspiracy from the source. The source is the power behind Wales. If we kill them now, we'll only alert the enemy. It'll be difficult to find them in the future. Moreover, they definitely aren't colluding with just Yu Zhangkui. There are definitely other despicable people who are colluding with them. Didn't you hear him say that there are other big families colluding with them? All the more reason for us to investigate this." Tang Zheng said. Li Xiaotian gradually calmed down. "Yes, we have to pull out this tumor from the source. Otherwise, killing one or two people would only give us a momentary satisfaction. It would be impossible to dissolve this conspiracy." "Okay, I'll listen to you. What do you think we should do?" Li Xiaotian looked at Tang Zheng in a new light and humbly asked for advice. "Isn't your Li Palace very good at gathering information? Of course we'll need your Li Palace's help." Li Xiaotian didn't hesitate and immediately agreed. "Okay, I'll immediately send people to gather information on this. This time, I'll completely dissolve their conspiracy." Tang Zheng didn't tell this news to anyone else, so as to avoid it being leaked. Li Xiaotian went to investigate this matter. Without a burden, he had more freedom to move around. At night, he went to Lu Qingmei's house. He predicted that there would be a huge storm, so he had to increase his strength as soon as possible to deal with this crisis. He lingered with Lu Qingmei for a while, then took out the Dragon Origin pill. Tang Jing looked at the Dragon Origin pill curiously and asked, "What is this thing?" "This pill can help you increase your cultivation. I can't always be by your side to protect you, so you have to have the power to protect yourself." Lu Qingmei was delighted. Ever since she started cultivating, she had also tasted the benefits of cultivation. Not only was her skin better, she was also more spirited. It was as if she was several years younger. "Is this pill so miraculous?" Lu Qingmei asked in disbelief. "Of course, but I'm not sure how much it can increase my cultivation, so I'll try it out first to understand its medicinal properties." Tang Zheng said. "It's not dangerous, right?" "Of course not." Tang Zheng smiled faintly. In fact, he didn't know whether or not there was any danger. A normal Dragon Origin pill used the blood of a flood dragon, but Tang Zheng used the blood of a much higher grade true dragon this time. So he had no idea what the medicinal properties of this Dragon Origin pill were. "Then you take it first. I'll protect you," Lu Qingmei said. Tang Zheng sat down cross-legged, adjusted his breathing, and took the Dragon Origin pill. As soon as the Dragon Origin pill entered his mouth, it was as if an energy bomb had exploded. A powerful energy rushed from his throat to his 8 meridians. In an instant, Tang Zheng felt as if his body had been thrown into a furnace. He groaned and hurriedly circulated his qi. The ancient clear heaven scroll and the dragon god's secret art revolved at the same time. True qi surged like a roaring river, rampaging through his meridians. It was as if his body was about to be torn apart. Beads of sweat appeared on his forehead as his face revealed a painful expression. Lu Qingmei saw this scene and was shocked. She shouted for Tang Zheng, but he didn't respond. She didn't know what to do, but she didn't dare to touch Tang Zheng. She could only anxiously look at him as she prayed, Tang Zheng, nothing must happen to you. Why is this dragon origin pill so powerful? Is it a miracle pill or poison? It can actually make him feel so much pain. Although Tang Zheng was in pain, he still guarded his mind. He continued to circulate the ancient clear heaven scroll and the dragon god's secret art. The restless true chi continued to jump up and down, rising bit by bit. So, the true chi that was originally 7 inches long instantly rose to 8 inches. Moreover, it didn't stop, as if it wanted to break through his body. He couldn't help but scream miserably. He thought to himself, F***CK, why is this dragon origin pill so overbearing? It even mobilized the pure yang energy in my body. Could it be that I'm going to explode and die? Lu Qingmei saw that his cheeks were gradually turning red like soldering iron. After a while, his body began to emit green smoke. In the end, his clothes directly ignited into flames. She screamed. But in an instant, the flames were extinguished again, because his clothes were burned to ashes in an instant, and he was naked. Fortunately, beside him was Lu Qingmei, who had been intimate with him before. If it was anyone else, it would be embarrassing. His entire body had turned fiery red, and even his lower body had become a pillar that supported the sky. His fighting spirit was high. Lu Qingmei glanced at him, and a trace of redness appeared on her face. She said angrily, "Why is this guy so restless when we're cultivating?" Xiaobai watched from the side with great interest. This little guy wasn't worried about Tang Zheng at all. After glancing at him, it placed its attention on the porcelain bottle that contained the dragon origin pill. The little guy held the porcelain bottle and gently poured out a dragon origin pill. It looked left and right, and then quietly, its eyes revealed a look of joy. So, its little claws directly threw one into its mouth. Immediately, its eyes became brighter red. The last ball of flame burned in its eyes, and its snow-white hair also began to change, turning red bit by bit. In the end, its entire body was burning. Lu Qingmei was shocked by this unforeseen event. She didn't know what was going on, but when she saw the opened porcelain bottle, she suddenly realized that Xiaobai had secretly eaten the dragon origin pill. Seeing Tang Zheng's appearance, she also knew the consequences of eating the dragon origin pill, but Xiaobai had also secretly eaten it. What would happen? She didn't know about Xiaobai's miraculous abilities. Usually, she only treated it as a puppy. This time, when she saw it secretly eat the dragon origin pill, she was helpless. Xiaobai didn't show a painful expression like Tang Zheng. Instead, it seemed very excited. Its eyes lit up, and its little mouth let out squeaking sounds. With a kick of its hind legs, it jumped up and jumped onto the wardrobe. Lu Qingmei screamed. Was this little guy going to ignite the whole room? Then wouldn't Tang Zheng be in danger? But her worries were unnecessary. The flames outside the little guy's body didn't ignite anything. It was quite magical. Suddenly, a small figure jumped up and down in the room like a ball of flame, accompanied by squeaking sounds. Lu Qingmei was dumbstruck. She didn't know whether this was good or bad for Xiaobai, but no matter what, she could only wait and see. Soon, her attention was attracted by Tang Zheng. She saw that Tang Zheng's body was getting redder and redder, as if it was really going to burn. Especially the pain on his face was getting more and more intense. No, he's in great pain. I have to do something for him. Lu Qingmei muttered to herself, thinking hard about how to help him. Suddenly, her heart moved. She remembered the secret Tang Zheng told her. He had the 9 yang saint body. If the pure yang energy exploded, it must be the neutralization of the purine energy. Looking like he was about to burn, it must be the explosion of the pure yang body. It must be the neutralization of the purine energy. Where did the purine energy come from? Of course, it came from her body. She undressed without hesitation. Her snow-white skin was gradually exposed to the air. Her palms touched Tang Zheng's skin. Bang! A burst of burnt meat smell. She immediately groaned in pain and frowned. But she endured the pain and didn't shrink back. She knew that she was Tang Zheng's last hope. She absolutely couldn't shrink back, even if she was burned. So, her whole body leaned on Tang Zheng's body. A burst of green smoke rose. She felt as if her skin was torn open. She gritted her teeth, aimed at that part, and sat down. Chapter 353. A blazing flame-like energy rushed into Lu Qingmei's body, but the purine energy in her body suddenly erupted, and a cool feeling like a tide neutralized the blazing energy. Lu Qingmei directly fainted under the impact of this energy, but their bodies still maintained the most intimate contact. Tang Zheng felt that he was about to explode, but suddenly a wave of purine energy rushed into his body, instantly suppressing the berserk pure yang energy. The two energies and the energy of the dragon Yuan Dan complemented each other and quickly transformed into true qi, which rapidly soared from 8 inches to 9 inches and finally directly broke through the profound entrances, only to hear a thunderous sound coming from his dantian. His whole body was emitting a red light, which also wrapped Lu Qingmei. Only when the sky turned white did the red light disappear, revealing 2 naked people. Lu Qingmei's burned skin was as good as new, like white jade, shining with a white luster. Both of them opened their eyes at the same time, and seeing this intimate contact, Lu Qingmei's face couldn't help but blush, but still asked with concern, "Are you okay?" Tang Zheng shook his head. He already understood what happened. At the critical moment of his life and death, Lu Qingmei risked her life to save him, and pulled him back from the gates of hell. He couldn't help but have a lingering fear. The dragon Yuan Dan he refined had far surpassed the original dragon Yuan Dan, and the energy of the true dragon's blood was so terrifying that it directly detonated his pure yang body, causing the crisis of his body exploding to erupt prematurely. If not for Lu Qingmei using the most primitive method to transfer the purine energy in her body to him, then he really would have exploded and died. However, because he walked through the gates of hell, his harvest was also very big. His cultivation soared again and directly broke through to the first-grade Anidia, which was equivalent to a first-grade Xiantian martial artist. In addition, he found that the true fire in his sea of consciousness had also undergone a qualitative leap, becoming a third-grade true fire. The flame was dark and emitted a flirtatious taste. Boom! Tang Zheng opened his palm, and a third-grade true fire began to burn in his palm. The flame danced, as if it could burn everything. Ah, Tang Zheng, my power has also increased. Suddenly, Lu Qingmei couldn't hold back her surprise and shouted excitedly. 2BE, not only did the dragon origin pill increase my cultivation, it also allowed you to jump 2 levels, reaching the 3rd grade of refining qi. Tang Zheng was also very surprised. One must know that when he cultivated to the 3rd grade refining qi, it took him nearly a month, but Lu Qingmei only took a few days. However, after thinking about it, she was relieved. This was the effect of the Dragon Yuan pill. A portion of the energy of the Dragon Yuan pill had been transferred to her body. Her cultivation was not high to begin with, so under the effect of the Dragon Yuan pill, she naturally advanced at lightning speed. Lu Qingmei was originally prepared to die to save them, but she didn't expect to get a blessing in disguise. She was overjoyed. "Sister Mei, thank you. Without you, I would have been in danger last night." Tang Zheng sincerely thanked her. Lu Qingmei smiled. "You are my lover. The 2 of us are one. How could I not save you?" Tang Zheng held her in his arms, and the 2 of them were tightly pressed together. Lu Qingmei couldn't help but gasp and said, "Don't move." Tang Zheng deliberately straightened his body, and Lu Qingmei cried out in alarm. "Xiaobai is next to us." "Xiaobai." Tang Zheng turned his head to look, only to see the little guy lying on the side, as if it was asleep. "It doesn't matter. It's asleep." Early in the morning, the 2's hormones were soaring, and Lu Qingmei was also aroused. Not long after, the battle began. After the wind stopped and the rain stopped, Lu Qingmei seemed to have fallen apart, lying on the bed in satisfaction, her eyes full of deep affection. Tang Zheng walked in front of Xiaobai. He heard the strange sound of Xiaobai secretly eating the dragon Yuan Dan last night and was greatly surprised. He fiddled with Xiaobai, and the little guy slowly woke up, opening its big round eyes. "Huh!" Tang Zheng's eyes lit up. The fiery red in the little guy's eyes became stronger, and its hair became whiter, without a trace of impurities. Xiaobai seems to have also transformed. Tang Jing didn't know what kind of divine beast Xiaobai was, and was quite curious about what he would become in the end. Squeak, squeak! Xiaobai cried out, in high spirits, and went to the porcelain bottle containing the dragon Yuan Dan, as if it wanted to eat the dragon Yuan Dan again. Tang Jing quickly put it away, and Xiaobai immediately pouted, quite dissatisfied, as if complaining that Tang Jing was a stingy person. Tang Jing wasn't stingy. This dragon Yuan Dan was really too fierce, and Xiaobai didn't know the severity. If it ate too much, it would cause some bad consequences. He wasn't completely sure, so he would rather not let it eat. Moreover, he couldn't continue to eat. He had to wait until his power was consolidated and reached a certain stage before he could take it, or else Lu Qingmei's purine energy might not be able to save him if his body exploded again. He put away the remaining 8 dragon Yuan Dan and taught Lu Qingmei some spells, letting her practice at home. When she reached the 3rd grade of Qi refining, she could practice the most basic spells, and in the future, she would have the power to protect herself. When Tang Jing returned to school, Li Xiaotian found him. He faintly felt that his temperament seemed to have changed a lot, but he didn't ask much. Instead, he told him the results of the investigation on whales and Yu Zhangkue. The Li Palace's intelligence system was indeed powerful. In just one night, they found out the general situation. Wales was actually a member of the Western Empire's Rockefeller family. This family was the largest family in the Western Empire, with wealth comparable to that of a country. Moreover, they had great influence in politics, the military, and the business world. Huaxia had many large families coexisting, while the Western Empire was dominated by one family. The entire country was under the influence of the Rockefeller family. It was just that they didn't think that the Rockefeller family wasn't scheming for commercial interests, but for the interests of a country. In other words, it was also a conspiracy of the Western Empire. They wanted to use this method to destroy the spirit of the people of Huaxia, and their intentions were sinister. The Rockefeller family had been secretly plotting in Huaxia for many years, and many officials had been bribed by them, becoming their accomplices in plundering benefits. "We must destroy this conspiracy," Li Xiaotian said solemnly. "Of course, but have you found out what follow-up actions they have?" Tang Jing asked. Li Xiaotian shook his head and said, "The other party's actions are very secretive. I haven't found anything yet, but they will definitely take action against you. I think we will see the results in 2 days." The results came out very quickly. The Martial Arts Association once again sent out invitations to all the boxing experts in the world to participate in the martial arts conference. Many of the experts who had originally refused actually agreed and came in droves. In a few days, a large number of experts had gathered in the capital. This time, the Martial Arts Association showed their face again. The face that had been swept away by Tang Jing was won back, and everyone's attention was pulled back to the Martial Arts Association. The Martial Arts Association issued a statement that these experts would participate in the martial arts conference. If anyone wanted to spar with them, then they had to sign up for the martial arts conference. They also mentioned names, and Tang Jing was no exception. Tang Jing had originally hoped to spar with these people independently of the Martial Arts Association, but he did not expect the Martial Arts Association to get involved again. The strange thing was that these experts who had originally disdained the Martial Arts Association actually agreed. There must be a reason for this abnormality. Tang Jing and Li Xiaotian immediately guessed this point. Third brother, the Martial Arts Association just issued an announcement that a press conference will be held at the Shangri-La Hotel this afternoon to announce the martial arts conference. At that time, the experts from all over the world will appear one by one, and the domestic registration period will also end at the press conference. Sinosaurus and the other 2 ran over, panting. "The Martial Arts Association is too despicable. They didn't even inform you. I don't think they want you to participate at all." They also knew that the chairman of the Martial Arts Association had been beaten up by Tang Jing a few days ago, and they thought it was a deliberate revenge. However, Tang Jing understood that the situation was far more complicated than they had imagined. The Martial Arts Association had 2 motives for doing this. First, if Tang Jing did not participate in the martial arts conference, then the experts from all over the world would not spar with him. Moreover, They would defeat the other participants from Huaxia one by one in front of everyone. This was undoubtedly the most fatal blow to Huaxia's martial arts. From then on, Huaxia's martial arts would completely lose the hearts of the people and never recover from this setback. Abandoned child. If Tang Zheng participated in the martial arts conference, then he would be lowering his head to the Martial Arts Association, and the Martial Arts Association would gain back some face. As for what tricks the other party would use to defeat Tang Zheng in the subsequent matches, they could not think of any for the time being. Li Xiaotian also understood this point in an instant, and he was unable to restrain his anger. This martial arts association is too hateful. Let's go smash their place. Yes, let's go make a scene at the venue and embarrass the martial arts association. Sinosaurus and the others agreed. This bunch of officials, instead of doing proper business, they are thinking of some sinister methods to harm people. Tang Zheng smiled coldly. After all, their little tricks are not elegant. They want to use this kind of method to checkmate me. How can I let them do as they wish? I want to make them go for wool, but come home shorn. Oh, what are you going to do? They were curious. You'll know when the time comes. Tang Zheng smiled mysteriously and went straight to the Shangri-La Hotel with Li Xiaotian. There was already a sea of people outside the hotel. This time, the debate about martial arts had already caused a stir and attracted the attention of many people. When they heard that a press conference would be held, both the pro-martial arts faction and the anti-martial arts faction rushed over. However, these two groups of people were already arguing outside the hotel. The competition on the internet had become face-to-face. Their faces were red, and there were signs that they were going to fight without saying a word. The hotel security guards were so busy that they broke out in cold sweat. These hundreds of people could actually be stopped by just a few of them. At this time, more than 10 cars drove to the entrance of the hotel, and people got out one by one. Immediately, the atmosphere changed because the people who got out of the cars had different faces. Many of them were foreigners, and they raised their necks arrogantly as if they were superior to others. One of them glanced at the quarreling parties and sneered disdainfully. The weak only know how to win with words. Only the strong solve problems with their fists. As he spoke, he waved his fist. Chapter 354. One of the martial artists was furious. He rushed forward and questioned, "Who are you calling weak?" The Westerner said arrogantly, "Of course it's you guys, huh? You're just a bunch of people who only know how to talk. Who are you? How dare you come to our country and spout nonsense? I'm an expert invited by your martial arts association to participate in the competition. I'm here to defeat you and show you what true strength is. You won't succeed. Our martial artist will beat you to a pulp." Are you talking about that young man? He's just a... He's dreaming if he wants to beat me. You people from Huaxia have always been weak. It was like that 100 years ago, and it's still the same now. That will never change, the Westerner said disdainfully. The history of Huaxia 100 years ago was the most humiliating period in its history. It was unbearable to look back on. Because of its weak national strength, it was broken by the Western Empire's strong ships and cannons. From then on, it signed many unequal and humiliating treaties. More than 100 years had passed, and these Westerners still thought that the Chinese could be bullied as they wished. They really deserved to die. This was intolerable. His words poked a hornet's nest. Many people shouted, "What did you say? Do you think I won't beat you?" Sent. Yes, beat this Westerner up. The crowd was riled up. The Westerner was not afraid at all. Instead, he said provocatively, "See, I told you all only know how to talk. When it comes to true strength, you're all cowards, ha." Everyone's faces turned red, but the other party was an expert. Everyone knew that they were just ordinary people and were no match for the other party. Therefore, they did not dare to say anything. At this time, the staff of the Martial Arts Association walked out and scolded loudly, "What are you shouting for? This is an important guest. How can you be rude to an important guest?" When the Westerner heard this, he was furious. "F***ck your mother. This person insulted our country, and you're speaking up for him." The staff said disdainfully, "A bunch of boring people." Then, he said to the crowd of fighters, "Everyone, Please come in. The press conference is about to begin. Many of the fighters revealed proud smiles, turned around, and walked inside. Stop. The person who supported the martial arts shouted. If no one wants to challenge you, then I'll challenge you. I want you to apologize for what you said just now. Hua Xia will not allow you to insult her. So what if I insult you? What can you do about it? Are you a match for me? I can crush you with one finger. The Westerner said contemptuously, I won't allow you to insult Hua Xia. The person from the martial arts faction roared and rushed forward. The Western man threw a punch and hit his opponent's chest. Bang! The martial faction fell to the ground in a sorry state and was in so much pain that he could not get up. Too weak. Not even worth mentioning, the Westerner said. Haha. Many other boxers chimed in loudly. Immediately, the others were enraged. They pointed at the other party and asked why they were attacking. At that moment, the staff of the Martial Arts Association stood up and shouted, What are you doing? It's clear that this person attacked first. His skills are inferior, so he deserves to be beaten. He's lucky that he didn't die. This insult from their own compatriots made everyone even angrier. It was no wonder that foreigners looked down on Hua Xia. Even their own compatriots had so many lackeys. It would be strange if other people looked down on them. Tang Zheng walked into the crowd and happened to see this scene. Immediately, the evil fire surged. The Martial Arts Association was rotten to the bone. If the upper beam was not straight, the lower beam would be crooked. With Yu Zhangkue, a lackey who sold his country for glory, it was no wonder that there were such subordinates. Seeing that the other party was helping foreigners to insult their own compatriots, Tang Zheng walked over with a gloomy face and said, Please apologize to this gentleman. Who are you? The staff did not recognize Tang Zheng. I'm a Hua Xia. The staff curled his lips and said disdainfully, Get lost. You have no right to speak here. Are you still a Hua Xia? Tang Zheng questioned. It's none of your business. Are you asking for a beating? The staff had also learned a few tricks. Seeing that Tang Zheng was deliberately finding fault with him and making him lose face in front of the foreign guests, the anger in his heart rose. If that's the case, then you asked for it. Finished speaking, he used a capturing hand to grab Tang Zheng's wrist. Tang Zheng moved as fast as lightning. With a backhand grab, he grabbed the staff's arm first. Then, with a crack, he directly broke it. This time, he did not dislocate the staff's arm. Instead, he directly broke the staff's arm. Because the other party was a Hua Xia, but he was helping the tyrant. This was even more hateful, so Tang Zheng was even more ruthless. The staff screamed involuntarily. The others looked at this scene in disbelief. This person moved too fast. Before they could see clearly how he did it, the staff's arm was broken. In addition, this person was too bold. He dared to make a move at the Martial Arts Association's press conference. This was simply a challenge and a slap in the face of the Martial Arts Association. Ah, I recognize him. Isn't this person Brother Kung Fu? Suddenly, someone exclaimed. After his reminder, the others also reacted. Wasn't this person the famous Brother Kung Fu? He actually came to the hotel and taught the people of the Martial Arts Association a lesson so neatly. It was so satisfying. Many people who supported the martial arts shouted excitedly, Brother Kung Fu, we support you. You're good. Teach these traitors a lesson. It's too hateful. Tang Jing nodded to the excited crowd, then squatted down to support the person who supported the martial arts and asked, How are your injuries? The other party looked at Tang Zheng excitedly and seemed to have forgotten the pain in his body. He said, Brother Kung Fu, it's really you. I knew you would come and defeat these people who don't believe in Hua Xia's martial arts. You're the best. I'll support you to the end. Thank you. It's because of this group of people that Hua Xia's martial arts can be passed down for a long time. Decades or centuries later, when people talk about Hua Xia's martial arts, you have a part to play. Without your trust and support, the inheritance of Hua Xia's martial arts will be affected by some people with ulterior motives. Tang Zheng said. When the other party heard this, he asked in disbelief, I'm not a martial arts practitioner. Do I have a part to play in the inheritance of martial arts? Tang Zheng nodded solemnly. Of course. Well, with your words, I haven't believed in Huaxia's martial arts for so many years in vain. I promise that I will continue to believe in it in the future. My son and my grandson will continue to believe in it. Yes, we will continue to believe in it. The group of people who supported the martial arts were excited. However, there would always be some clowns jumping out. A person with a sarcastic tone said disdainfully, "What you say sounds better than singing. Martial arts depends on one's real ability, not on one's mouth. Relying on one's mouth to show off, that's a sissy, not a martial artist." Yes, these people are just trying to show off. I don't think they have any ability. They should wash up and go back to sleep. Don't come and make a fool of themselves. This was the person who supported the martial arts. Tang Zheng coldly snorted. In any country, there would always be a small group of people who thought they were smart, but always did things that hurt their loved ones and pleased their enemies. Your brother Kung Fu? Suddenly, a voice interrupted Tang Zheng's thoughts. He saw the Western man who attacked earlier walk in front of Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng helped the people who supported the martial arts up and said, "I'm you? Oh, you have some ability, but I think you're just SOSO. The Western man tilted his head and said, "Is that so?" Tang Zheng did not comment. He pointed at the Western man and said, "You just spoke rudely and hurt many people. You hurt the feelings of Huaxia people. I want you to apologize for your words and actions." "Haha, you want me to apologize?" The Western man laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. "Yes, you're not standing in your Western Empire, but in Huaxia's land. You publicly insulted Huaxia people. If you don't apologize, then don't even think about leaving this country alive." Tang Zheng said coldly, "Haha, what a joke. What ability do you have to say that? With your showy martial arts?" The Western man had seen videos of Tang Zheng's fights. Although he admitted that his opponent was not an ordinary showy martial arts, he was still confident that he could defeat Tang Zheng. "Humph, we'll know if I have the ability after we try." "Well, although the martial arts conference has not started yet, I don't mind warming up with a fight. Come on, kid. Let me teach you what a real master is." When the others heard this, they had different expressions. No one expected a fight to break out before the martial arts conference started. The staff member with the broken arm took advantage of the chaos to sneak into the hotel. "Brother Kung Fu, teach this Western man a lesson." The people who supported the martial arts shouted. The other foreigners were not willing to be left behind. They all shouted, "Kyle, teach this kid a lesson. Make him kneel on the ground and beg for mercy." "Haha, good as you wish." Kyle smiled proudly as he clenched his fists. Immediately, the muscles on his arms bulged and his bones cracked. Tang Zheng said expressionlessly, "Do it. I advise you to do it first. Otherwise, if I do, you won't have the chance to do it," Kyle said. Tang Zheng snorted and said, "If that's the case, then fall for me." Tang Zheng tiptoed and shot out like an arrow. He threw a punch at his opponent. Kyle's reaction was also very fast. He also threw a punch. Bang! The two fists collided, and a muffled sound rang out. But right after that, the sound of bones breaking rang out. The blood vessels on Kyle's sturdy arms had actually exploded, and blood spurted out. A section of bone directly pierced through the muscles and was exposed outside. It was eerie white and was covered in blood. It was exceptionally terrifying. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. No one expected that Kyle's arm would be crippled with just one punch. This injury was much more serious than the injury suffered by the staff member just now. It was unknown how many bones were broken, and even the blood vessels had exploded. How much power did he need to exert? Everyone had different feelings, but no one cheered, and no one cursed, because they were really shocked by this attack. Chapter 355. Tang Zheng's next attack was so fast that it was dazzling. Only the shadows of his fists could be seen flying. Kyle's chest, abdomen, and head were hit one after another, and the sound of his head breaking was incessant. Li Gu was dead meat. In the end, there was a loud bang as Kyle smashed into the hood of a car. The hood quickly caved in and white smoke rose from it. At this moment, screams suddenly sounded, and the foreign boxers were like springs under their feet. They quickly shot in front of Tang Zheng and glared at him. You dare to hurt people? Everyone was an expert. They didn't need to check at all to know how serious Kyle's injuries were. This person was really disabled. In the future, his fighting strength would be even worse than that of an ordinary person. It was very likely that he would be left with a disability. Tang Zheng stood proudly. Under the watchful eyes of the many enemies, he did not show the slightest bit of fear. Instead, the corners of his mouth hooked up into a faint smile as he said, "Do you want to start fighting here? I'll accompany you." Several boxers were eager to try, but they didn't dare to attack rashly. Tang Zheng's lightning-like attack just now had made them understand that Tang Zheng was not a showy fighter. He had real strength. "What are you doing?" Suddenly, Yu Zhankue walked out, and a large number of news reporters also heard the news and quickly walked out. Seeing this tense situation, the reporters seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They were quite excited, and one after another, they raised their cameras and aimed them at the parties involved. Yu Zhankue's face was gloomy. He glanced at the wounded and dying Kyle, then turned his head to stare at Tang Zheng. His eyes were almost spitting fire. He didn't expect Tang Zheng to be so bold and dare to attack in front of so many people. Moreover, his attack was so heavy that he directly disabled Kyle. "Tang Zheng, do you know what you are doing?" Yu Zhankue had already planned that no matter how Tang Zheng responded, the Martial Arts Association would win back face. However, Tang Zheng disrupted the rhythm. Tang Zheng said frankly, "Of course I know. This man not only insulted our country and our people, but also dared to attack our compatriots. Does he think that this is still a century ago? Huaxia is going to let them bully her." Tang Zheng's words were powerful and resonated with many people as they all shouted, "We will not allow them to bully us. If they dare to bully us, we will beat them until they are looking for their teeth on the ground and send them back to their grandma's house." "Shut up. Don't spout nonsense. These are VIP guests that the Martial Arts Association specially invited. They're here to participate in the martial arts tournament, and they're all very well-mannered people. How could they be like what you're saying?" Yu Zhankue spared no effort in defending the Westerners. "That's right. We didn't say anything at all. It's all because of this guy. He's the one who injured Kyle. He must be held responsible and be severely punished." The Westerners were not idiots and immediately agreed. Seeing the other party's clumsy praise, Tang Zheng laughed disdainfully. "You're lying in front of so many people. Don't you feel ashamed?" "That's right. It's too shameless. We're not blind or deaf. We won't forget what you've done just now. We'll remember all the insults you've inflicted on our country and our people." The crowd was agitated. This scene was recorded by the camera, and Tang Zheng's powerful questioning was also recorded without reservation. Yu Zhankue saw this and felt a chill in his heart. If this matter was messed up, then his benefits would be gone. All of his previous efforts would be in vain. Therefore, he shouted in a deep voice, "Shut up! He's a guest from afar. Huaxia is a hospitable nation. How can we neglect our guests like this? Hurry up and help Mr. Kyle to get treatment. As for some people's responsibilities, they must be strictly investigated." As he spoke, he glared fiercely at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng wasn't afraid at all. He wasn't the ignorant person he used to be. He wasn't someone who could be bullied by others. "Dear guests, please come in first. I'll take care of this matter," Yu Zhankue carefully said to the Westerners. The Westerners coldly snorted. They also knew how to take advantage of the situation. Therefore, they glared at Tang Zheng with an unfriendly expression and left in a huff, entering the hotel. "Haha, these people are also cowards. Kung Fu Bro is so powerful that they don't even dare to fart." The crowd vented their anger. "That's right. This is Huaxia's land. How can they be allowed to strut around? Of course we have to thank Kung Fu Bro for this. Unlike some people who only know how to be arrogant at home, when they meet a foreigner, they're like their own son." The crowd's words were like steel needles that pierced Yu Zhankue's heart. His heart felt as if it was bleeding. His expression kept changing until finally, his face was ashen as he said, "Tang Zheng, you have to take responsibility for your actions." "Haha, of course I will take responsibility. Let me tell you, I came this time to defeat these fighters you invited, and let them know the profoundness of Huaxia's martial arts. Tang Zheng solemnly vowed. Yu Zhangkui's eyes flashed with a hint of pride. He thought to himself that this brat still lowered his head to the Martial Arts Association and still came to participate in this martial arts convention. Tang Zheng didn't lower his head. The Martial Arts Association was so cunning that they used the Martial Arts Convention as a threat. If Tang Zheng didn't participate, then he wouldn't be able to compete with these fighters. Although he participated in the Martial Arts Convention, and it looked like the Martial Arts Association temporarily suppressed Tang Zheng, in reality, this wasn't the case. This martial arts convention scale was especially large. Not only did it attract domestic attention, but it also attracted international attention. The martial arts convention's finals would be broadcasted live to the world on the internet. This was an excellent opportunity. Since Tang Zheng wanted to prove Huaxia's martial arts to the world, then he would use this opportunity to show the world the power of Huaxia's martial arts. He wanted to defeat all his opponents fair and square. When that time came, Huaxia's martial arts would be deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, and the spirit of martial arts would be reinstilled in the hearts of Huaxia's people. The Martial Arts Association's sinister goal would be destroyed. Therefore, Tang Zheng was only a temporary drag, and they would fight for greater benefits in the future. Isn't the deadline for the Martial Arts Convention's registration later? I also want to sign up. Tang Zheng said. When the time comes, don't get kicked out in the knockout round. That would really be a disgrace. How can you talk about being broad and profound? Yu Zhangkui said sarcastically. Tang Zheng didn't care and strode into the hotel. Yu Zhangkui followed dejectedly. The other reporters were all excited. They had already thought of the title and content for tomorrow's report. This martial arts convention would definitely attract everyone's attention. Tang Zheng finished the registration procedures and then sat in the audience seats in the hall. The Westerners sat directly at the guest seats. Under the spotlight, they showed unruly expressions. In addition, a few of the leaders of the Martial Arts Association and a few sect leaders were also sitting in the guest seats. These people were frequent guests of the previous martial arts circle tournaments, but this time, all of them had resentment on their faces. They seemed to be a little absent-minded, especially when they looked at the Westerners. Their gazes were filled with fear. Obviously, they also understood that they were not a match for these people with flashy moves. Many people did not understand why Yu Zhangkui would make such a big deal out of this martial arts tournament and invite all the powerful boxers in the world. Was he not deliberately making things difficult for them? However, Yu Zhangkui had an official status, and the martial arts convention was a semi-official competition. Of course, Yu Zhangkui made the final decision. Even if others had different opinions, they could only keep them. The audience seats were gradually filled with people. Many of them were the crowd that had just watched. They all gave Tang Zheng a thumbs up and cheered him on. Li Xiaotian sat next to him and whispered, "You were so impressive just now. You completely suppressed the momentum of that group of people." Tang Zheng lightly said, "Don't underestimate these Westerners. In fact, their strength is not bad. Just now, even though I knocked down Kyle with a series of attacks, I also felt that the opponent's body was strong." After a pause, he sighed and continued, "In fact, to be honest, the bodies of foreigners are really stronger than many of our people. This leads to their great strength. Their boxing skills are also relatively simple. They don't have as many martial arts routines as our country. They pay more attention to external attack power than internal force cultivation. This is another way of cultivation, but after successful cultivation, their strength can't be underestimated." Li Xiaotian nodded. "I haven't had much contact with these Westerners, but what you said makes sense. Just now, I saw that there were indeed masters in the other team. Although they didn't have strong internal force fluctuations, their combat strength can't be underestimated. Your cultivation is only equivalent to that of a Hotian warrior, so you have to be careful." Li Xiaotian didn't know that Tang Zheng had broken through to the fasting realm, which was equivalent to that of a Xintian warrior. However, Tang Zheng didn't explain. He just nodded gently to show that he understood. There was another clamor at the door, and another group of people walked in. However, these people didn't have Western faces. Instead, they had Eastern faces like the people from Huaxia. However, It was obvious that these people weren't from Huaxia, but from several countries around Huaxia. Their land area couldn't be compared to that of Huaxia, but many of them were very developed. Especially in the area of martial arts, many countries' martial arts were even passed down from Huaxia hundreds of thousands of years ago, and then passed down and improved to the current situation. Therefore, many martial arts were of the same origin as Huaxia's martial arts. There were also many that paid attention to the cultivation of internal force, which was completely different from Western boxing. Tang Zheng swept his gaze around and noticed a person in the group. This person was extremely skinny and did not have a trace of excess meat on his body. His physique was not tall, only 1.7 meters tall. His face was dark, but his eyes were filled with an ominous light. Tang Zheng took notice of his 2 legs. When he walked, they were strong and powerful. Moreover, every step seemed to have been measured, not a bit more, not a bit less. This person is Sampa, Tang Zheng said. Li Xiaotian also noticed this person and secretly nodded. He's worthy of being the #1 master of Muay Thai. Although he looks to be in his 30s, his cultivation is definitely not low. He's quite a strong opponent for you. Chapter 356. These Asian faces were not simple, and Tang Zheng felt a familiar aura from a few of them. Island Nation warriors. Tang Zheng had fought with the Island Nation people too many times, so he was quite familiar with their aura and mannerisms. Island Nation people are here again? Did Sawada Ichiro summon them? But I didn't find Sawada Ichiro among them. He did not know the details, so he looked at the other Asian faces. These people were like actors in an opera, and many of them were even in makeup, giving off a feminine vibe. Hey, these people must be from the small country in the East, Korea. Plastic surgery is popular in the country, but their TV series and variety shows have a lot of fans in Huaxia. Such a small country is participating in the Martial Arts Circle Convention. This time, the Martial Arts Association is really determined, Tang Zheng said. He did not have a good impression of this country that liked to steal the traditional culture of other countries. He thought to himself that he must teach these Koreans a lesson during the competition. Li Xiaotian said with a half-smile, "You're going against the whole world? So what? Don't be fooled by the so-called martial arts of some countries. But when it comes to a real life and death battle, it might not be useful. Take Korea's Taekwondo, for example. It's purely for showing off and tricking little girls. It's not presentable," Tang Zheng said disapprovingly. Li Xiaotian agreed. "That's why you have to expose their disguise this time. If it wasn't for my sensitive identity, I would want to participate in this martial arts circle convention." Many guests were invited to the stage, and the audience below the stage was also filled with people. There was a long row of cameras and cameras. The chairman of the Martial Arts Association, Yu Zhangkue, went up to the stage to give a speech and announce some details of the Martial Arts Circle Convention. The Martial Arts Circle Convention would be held tomorrow at the National Stadium, and it would be the largest martial arts circle convention in history. Then, a few guest representatives spoke. Dai Beiyin from the Western Empire pointed out that they would definitely defeat Huaxia's martial arts and show them a true master. Such remarks immediately provoked a backlash from the people below, and there was a lot of discussion. However, the Westerner was not afraid at all and continued to speak step by step. In fact, this was a provocation. Coupled with the scene at the entrance of the hotel, many people hated these Westerners. The representatives of the Island Nation and the Gaoli Nation also spoke one after another. Although their words were very calm and did not have too many provocative words, the confidence and arrogance revealed between the lines still made people secretly hate them. The great Huaxia was provoked by such a small country. Many people could not bear such humiliation. They looked at the representative of the Martial Arts Association, hoping that he could give a strong counterattack. The representative of the Martial Arts Association looked down with an expressionless face, as if he had not heard anything. It was chilling. Siam's Muay Thai representative, Sampa, stood up to speak. His men glanced at the crowd, as if trying to find someone. His Huaxia language was very stiff, but people could barely understand. "I came here to duel with the person in the video. He is a master. I will have a fair fight with him, and I will defeat him. After that, He turned around and walked back to his seat. Everyone immediately knew who he was talking about, and quite a few people turned to look at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's heart moved, as even though this song boss still displayed a powerful self-confidence, he sounded much more pleasing to the ear than the other speakers. At the very least, he did not mix in so many messy words of arrogance, and instead purely pursued a confrontation of strength. The representative of the Martial Arts Association went on stage. He was expressionless and spoke as if he was reciting a script. He said that the most important thing was to participate, to compete, and to learn humbly from everyone. The crowd was infuriated. Just now, so many people were pointing at the nose and saying that Chinese martial arts would not be able to withstand a single blow and would definitely defeat the Chinese. However, this spokesperson turned a deaf ear to them like a puppet and said such nonsense as if he was chanting scriptures. As long as it was someone with passion and a sense of national honor, they would not be able to stand it. Sure enough, a shoe was thrown out from the crowd and directly hit the representative's face, leaving a clear shoe print. "Get out, we don't want to listen to your nonsense. Damn it, they are bullying us, and you only know how to talk nonsense. It's really embarrassing. Yes, get out, get out. You can't represent Huaxia's martial arts." The crowd was agitated, and many people stood up. The situation suddenly collapsed, and the reporters recorded this explosive scene. The representative's face turned red with embarrassment, and he did not know what to do. Didn't he always speak like this before? There had never been a problem, so why did it go wrong this time? He did not know that many people in the audience had already been provoked. His soft speech was like a fuse that ignited the explosive in the hearts of the audience. The representative turned to Yu Zhangkue and asked him to make the decision. Yu Zhangkue's face was livid. A good press conference turned out like this, and it made him lose face. He got up, walked over, and scolded in a low voice, "Get out." The representative felt like he had been granted amnesty and went back to sit down dejectedly. Yu Zhangkue coughed, cleared his throat, and said sternly, "What are you doing? This is a press conference, not a market. It's not a place where you can do whatever you want. F***ck off. You were bullied to the point of being a coward. Are you still Huaxia's people? How dare you scold us?" Whoosh! Another shoe flew out from the crowd and hit Yu Zhangkue's face. Yu Zhangkue did not let down his guard. Moreover, he had some martial arts skills, so he quickly dodged. However, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Another shoe also flew out, and it just happened to calculate the trajectory of his dodge, and it ruthlessly hit his face. Slap! There was a soft sound, like a slap on his face. This time, the person who threw the shoe was very strong, and his face immediately turned red. Yu Zhangkue was about to go crazy. He flew into a rage and said, "Who is it? Who attacked me? I'm going to catch you and make you suffer." However, there were so many people in the audience. How could he find the murderer? "Get out. Huaxia's martial arts are not something you can represent. Kung Fu Bro, let Kung Fu Bro go up. Only Kung Fu Bro can represent Huaxia's martial arts. Get out of the F***king Martial Arts Association. Yes, get out of the Martial Arts Association. Let Kung Fu Bro speak." Kung Fu Bro. Kung Fu Bro. The crowd immediately boiled over. Everyone shouted the three words, "Kung Fu Bro," at the same time. It was deafening. The people from the Martial Arts Association were about to go crazy, especially Yu Zhangkue. If this went on, it would be impossible for him to announce the end of the press conference immediately. He glanced at the crowd and immediately saw Tang Zheng. He remembered this face very clearly, and it could be said that he hated it to the bone. His dislocated arm had been completely restored, but when he saw Tang Zheng, he faintly felt pain in his arm. "Tang Zheng, I will definitely let you win or lose in the competition. You want to ruin my good thing? No way." His eyes bloomed with resentment. Li Xiaotian pushed Tang Zheng's shoulder and said, "Your voice is so loud. Don't you want to go up and say a few words?" Tang Zheng looked at Yu Zhangkue and the group of good-for-nothings from the Martial Arts Association from afar, especially the mocking and arrogant attitude of the foreign boxers. The anger in his heart rose. Since this matter could not be settled peacefully, there was no room for retreat, and there was no need to save face for them. Tang Zheng stood up suddenly. Immediately, everyone's gaze was attracted to him, and he became the focus of attention. The crowd's shouts came to an abrupt stop as everyone looked at Tang Zheng with burning eyes, and their hearts uncontrollably sped up by a bit. Kung Fu Bro finally stood up. Tang Zheng strode to the podium, ignoring Yu Zhangkui's murderous gaze. He unceremoniously pushed Yu Zhangkui away and said into the microphone, "Some people think that our Huaxia people are still the sick and weak body from more than 100 years ago. Some people think that our Huaxia people are still bullied and humiliated by others. Some people think that our martial arts are fragile. Today, I stand here to tell these people that the Huaxia people have risen in the world. The humble gift package of the Huaxia people will definitely give the enemy a fatal blow. The martial arts of Huaxia are extensive and profound, with a long history, and will definitely bloom with the brightest light. Those who dare to come to our country and criticize us will be kicked back to their grandma's home." The crowd was really quiet, and even a pin drop could be heard. Everyone stared at Tang Zheng with their eyes wide open. The foreigners were shocked that there was such a person in Huaxia, but they were also very angry. Tang Zheng vividly showed his confidence in Huaxia's martial arts, which was unacceptable to them. In their hearts, their own martial arts were the most powerful. The people of the Martial Arts Association were so ashamed that they wanted to find a hole to hide in. However, these officials' faces were thicker than the city walls. They still sat in their seats calmly, but their eyes were full of resentment when they looked at Tang Zheng. They seemed to hate Tang Zheng more than the foreigners. They wanted to eat his flesh and drink his blood. However, for the ordinary audience, Tang Zheng's words were like an accelerant, completely igniting the blood in their hearts. They only heard the earth-shattering cheers one after another. "Yes, kick him back to his grandma's home. Huaxia will win. Huaxia will win." The unprecedented confidence and enthusiasm made every audience clench their fists. Their eyes were red with excitement, and hot tears filled their eyes. How many years had it been since they heard such exciting words? Every time they were faced with external pressure and bullying, they were given a soft official answer, which had worn away too much of the people's enthusiasm and faith. Tang Zheng's words just happened to ignite their last trace of enthusiasm. This enthusiasm exploded, and the energy that was glowing was stronger than ever before. No one dared to underestimate it. Clap, clap, clap. Chapter 357. The press conference ended, and the Martial Arts Association slipped away with their tails between their legs. Tang Zheng, on the other hand, was in the limelight and became the darling of the media. Countless reporters wanted to interview him, and the audience also surrounded him. Fortunately, he and Li Xiaotian had profound skills, so they did everything they could to squeeze out of the crowd. This press conference caused the Martial Arts Association to lose face, and made Tang Zheng famous. Immediately after, there were related reports on the internet, and they were quickly reposted. Tang Zheng's speech was very short, but it was a powerful reply to the foreigners' provocation. It was 1,000,000 times sharper than the Martial Arts Association's soft and superficial speech, and it was also more inspiring. Kung Fu Bro's reputation was even more well-known on the internet. This martial arts convention also became a hot topic. Many people who originally did not pay attention to this aspect also gradually paid attention. As for the Martial Arts Association, they were even more scolded, especially Yu Zhangkui, the president of the Martial Arts Association, was also scolded by name. Yu Zhangkui walked around in exasperation, and a few cups were already smashed on the ground. He muttered, "You've gone too far. Tang Zheng, I won't let you go. This press conference is messed up, and this kid stole the limelight." He also neglected the important guests. "What should we do now?" Dong dong. The sound of footsteps could be heard as Mr. Wales walked in. Yu Zhangkui's heart skipped a beat, and he was shocked. He hurriedly went up to greet him without any arrogance. Instead, he bowed and said with trepidation, "Mr. Wales, about today's press conference." Mr. Wales waved his hand and said, "It's fine." Tang Zheng stole the limelight this time and stirred up many people's emotions, but this is only temporary. The higher he climbs, the more painful it will be when he falls. When his image in people's minds collapses, Huaxia's spirit will naturally collapse. It will be difficult to gather this spirit again within 100 years. Yu Zhangkue was overjoyed. He gave a thumbs up and praised. Mr. Wales is truly brilliant. This effect is even better. Let him jump around for a few days. Wales nodded and continued, but Cal was seriously injured by him and became a cripple. This matter cannot be ignored. Oh, then what are you going to do? Should we call the police and arrest him? Hee, if we call the police and arrest him, how are we going to defeat him in the ring? Wales said mysteriously. Oh, then what should we do? I have my own plans. Killing intent shot out from Wales' eyes as he spoke in a profound manner. Yu Zhangkue couldn't help but recall the scene of Tang Jing and Kyle fighting earlier. Kyle didn't have the strength to fight back at all, which meant that Tang Jing's strength was very high. Thus, he said worriedly, Tang Jing's skills are not simple, I'm afraid. Wales understood what he meant and sneered mysteriously. So what if you're good at fighting in this world? You still need to rely on your brain. As he spoke, he pointed at his own head proudly. Yu Zhangkue's heart trembled as he pondered. When Tang Zheng returned to school, he was blocked by Yi Dingdang. The girl pouted and looked at Tang Zheng with resentment. You've been with Li Xiaotian these past few days and didn't accompany me? If you're going to that press conference, I can go with you. Tang Zheng smiled bitterly. Aren't you in class? I'm going to skip class. I can skip class too, Yi Dingdang said without hesitation. She even purposely glanced at Li Xiaotian. This woman was too shameless. She followed Tang Jing all day like a third wheel. Now that the two of them were talking intimately, she was also watching with interest. She openly listened to them from the side. Yi Dingdang naturally couldn't show weakness. Thinking of Feng Xinyang's advice, she gritted her teeth and hugged Tang Jing's arm. Tang Jing immediately felt a soft sensation on his arm. He couldn't help but glance down. His arm was pressed against her chest and was a little deformed. You're very famous now. Many people on the internet are supporting you, hoping that you can defeat those foreigners. Are you confident? Yi Dingdang asked curiously. You and I have known each other for so long. Do you think I won't be confident? Of course you are. Yi Dingdang said, you're the best. You can definitely defeat those people and become the champion. Then do you have classes tomorrow? Come with me to the arena. Tang Zheng's heart moved as he asked. Yi Dingdang was overjoyed and hurriedly nodded her head. Okay, the two of us will go together. I also want to see those fighters. Do you want me to pull in some cheerleaders to cheer you on? No need. Tang Zheng declined. Let's wait until the finals. The next day, Tang Zheng rested for the whole night. Then Yi Dingdang and Li Xiaotian went to the National Stadium together for the first round of the knockout round. There were already many people outside the stadium. Everyone's interest was aroused by the media's lengthy reports. They all wanted to see the situation of the real masters fighting. However, when the knockout round started, everyone found that there were no foreigners on the stage. They were all Huaxia people. The organizers of the Martial Arts Association explained that the foreign boxers were specially invited guests. They were masters who had been internationally famous for a long time. Therefore, they were qualified to advance directly and didn't need to participate in the knockout round. This aroused the dissatisfaction of the audience. This was clearly discrimination. In their own country, foreigners were superior. How preposterous. However, the rules of the game were set by the Martial Arts Association and couldn't be changed. Everyone could only focus on the knockout round. The elimination round was not much different from the previous rounds in the martial arts tournament. They were all flashy fights, and they fought against each other for a long time. They looked incredibly dangerous, but in truth, they were all moves that had been rehearsed beforehand, and they were incredibly fake. The audience was tired of this fake show. They snorted at it and kept booing. All the boxers resisted the booing and finally decided the winner. They couldn't wait to get off the stage. We want to see Kung Fu Bro's real skills. Kung Fu Bro, hurry up and get on the stage, someone shouted. The others echoed. Actually, Kung Fu Bro can advance directly. These people from the Martial Arts Association are very despicable. They don't treat everyone equally. They even made Kung Fu Bro fight from the start of the knockout round. Yes, This is clearly bullying. It doesn't matter. Do those idiots from the Martial Arts Association think this can stump Kung Fu Bro? Wishful thinking. Let us see Kung Fu Bro pass all the stages and defeat all his opponents. This was not like the small audience at the press conference, but an audience of over 1,000 people. However, because this was the elimination round, and one needed to buy tickets, there were only over 1,000 people in the audience. However, because this was the elimination round, and one needed to buy tickets, there were only over 1,000 people in the audience. But these over 1,000 people cheering for Tang Zheng was also quite spectacular. Tang Zheng was in the limelight, completely suppressing the others, causing the other participants to have ugly expressions. However, no one dared to raise any objections, as there was no other way. Tang Zheng had real martial arts, while they had fake martial arts. When the devil meets the devil, how could they have the right to make a fuss? Yu Zhangkue didn't come today because he knew that Tang Zheng would win without any suspense. He didn't want to be provoked again. Tang Zheng's opponent was a man in his 50s. When he saw Tang Zheng, his legs trembled. He obviously knew that he was no match for Tang Zheng, but he didn't have the courage to give up. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. The two sides exchanged blows. Tang Zheng's movements were like lightning and thunder. It was too fast. Just as his opponent got into position, Tang Zheng's fist was already in front of him. He quickly retreated in a panic. This person was a little quick-witted. As he retreated, he directly fell to the ground and dodged the attack. Tang Zheng leaped over him and swept his leg. Just as this person got up, he realized that Tang Zheng's leg was ruthlessly whipping him. He hurriedly reacted and put his fists in front of his chest. Tang Zheng's leg ruthlessly whipped his fists. He staggered and staggered back. Tang Zheng had seen this person yesterday. He was the representative of Hua Xia sitting in the guest seats. It was said that he had participated in several martial arts conferences and was the leader of some sect. Tang Zheng originally thought that his opponent had at least some kung fu, but after testing him, he realized that his opponent really only knew how to use flowery but impractical moves. It was all a sham. Tang Zheng had no interest in exchanging blows. He controlled his strength and punched out. The opponent couldn't dodge and was hit in the chest. With a whoosh, his opponent flew out of the ring and fell to the ground, motionless. The referee immediately announced that Tang Zheng was the winner. The crowd burst into earth-shattering cheers. Many people even shouted, "Kung Fu Bro." Tang Zheng nodded to the audience. This battle was won too easily. There was no suspense. He subconsciously looked at his opponent below the ring and found that he was still motionless. The staff members had already rushed to him and helped him up. Suddenly, the staff members' expressions changed greatly. Their eyes bloomed with disbelief. They all turned to look at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's head trembled. He couldn't help but have an ominous premonition. He quickly walked over. The others' attention was also attracted. They all talked at once, not knowing what had happened. "What's wrong?" Tang Zheng asked. The staff member said with an ugly expression, "He died." "What? He died?" Tang Zheng was shocked. His punch was not enough to kill him. Although this person's moves were flowery but impractical, he was much stronger than the average person. It was impossible for him to die after taking his punch. Tang Zheng's expression was dignified and suspicious. The staff members were even more nervous. This kind of martial arts competition would definitely cause injuries, but no one had ever died. So everyone was a little at a loss. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Tang Zheng had killed his opponent with a single punch. This matter was blown out of proportion. The audience immediately knew what had happened, and they all showed horrified expressions. A martial arts competition was not about killing people. It would be too vicious to directly kill someone. Some of the martial arts factions loudly reprimanded Tang Zheng, saying that he was too cruel and merciless. He must pay with his life. The dead man's fellow disciples rushed over and threw themselves on the dead man's body. They wailed and shouted, "Sect leader, you died so unjustly. We will definitely avenge you. A life for a life. We must not let the murderer get away with it." Chapter 358. Everyone was in an uproar. Tang Zheng had killed someone in front of so many people. This matter had blown up. This was not a life and death competition. There had to be someone responsible for a murder case. Everyone looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated expression. Even the audience members who had supported Tang Zheng just now had forgotten what to say. They were at a loss. The deceased disciples had already called the police. Someone blocked Tang Zheng's path, as if they were afraid that he would escape. However, no one made a move. They all knew that they were no match for Tang Zheng. They were also worried that they would follow in the footsteps of their sect leader. However, pairs of resentful eyes were vividly displayed. You can't escape. The police will be here soon. There are so many witnesses. Don't even think about escaping the punishment of the law. Tang Zheng frowned and said sternly, "My punch could not have killed him. There must be something wrong." Twisting words and forcing logic. How dare you twist words and force logic after killing someone? You're too much of a bully. Everyone, help us testify. This person killed our sect leader, but he denied it. Is there such a despicable person in the world? Allowing such a person to participate in the Martial Arts Society convention is ruining the convention's reputation. Tang Zheng looked on coldly and said, "Whether or not I am qualified to participate in the Martial Arts Society convention is not up to you. As for his death, there will naturally be a forensic doctor who will give a verdict." Okay, then we'll wait and see. Let's see how you escape the law and the condemnation of your conscience. In the face of everyone's questioning, Tang Zheng's expressions did not change. His mind was already racing. He still had no way to investigate the cause of the other person's death. He could only wait and see. After a while, the police car drove directly into the stadium. The deceased was carried into the car, and Tang Zheng was directly taken to the car by the police. Tang Zheng did not resist because he was not guilty. He also wanted to understand the reason. The elimination competition came to an abrupt end. It could not be held. It was temporarily changed to the next day. Some of the police brought people back to the police station, while others recorded the statements of the witnesses. As for the deceased, he was sent to the police station for an autopsy. Someone slammed the table in front of Tang Zheng. The two policemen opposite him began to ask questions, and Tang Zheng answered them in detail. The two policemen's expressions were a little strange. Killing someone with one punch. How strong was this person's hand? These martial artists really shouldn't be provoked. According to everyone's testimony, the victim was killed by you with one punch. What do you think about this? The police asked over and over again, and they connected many clever questions together. If Tang Zheng lied, he would be exposed. This was the most basic interrogation routine, but Tang Zheng was telling the truth. His answers were the same several times without any discrepancy. He took my punch, but whether or not he died because of this punch, I am not sure. But one day I must declare that my punch can't kill people, Tang Zheng said solemnly. In several other interrogation rooms, the deceased disciples insisted that Tang Zheng deliberately killed the victim and must be severely punished. Although some of the audience confirmed that the victim died under Tang Zheng's fist, they still defended him, thinking that it was impossible. Perhaps the victim was scared by Tang Zheng. The news of the death in the elimination competition had spread, and there was a lot of discussion. The competition between the cessation of martial arts faction and the anti-martial arts faction continued. Both sides had their own opinions. Some people even suggested that the victim had a serious illness, so he died suddenly. Some people also suggested that the victim knew that he was not a match for Tang Zheng, so he was scared to death. In short, there was a fierce discussion, and no one came to a conclusion. At the end of the interrogation, Tang Zheng repeatedly reiterated that he was not the murderer. Although there were many witnesses, the autopsy results of the deceased were still needed to prove it. As the biggest suspect, Tang Zheng was left in the police station. This time, Tang Zheng did not resist, but was very cooperative. This made the police officer who handled the case suspicious and feel flattered. As for Li Xiaotian and Yi Dingdang, the two did not follow to the police station. Before Tang Zheng was taken away, he secretly told the two to look for clues. There was something fishy about this matter. The two immediately took action, and more information about the deceased gathered. When night fell, Tang Zheng was lying alone in a single room in the guard room. After making sure that there was not much movement around, he quietly made a dummy with a pillow and lay on the bed. After covering himself with a quilt, he sneaked out of the room. How could a guard room like this trap him? He appeared and disappeared like a ghost, passing through the passageways and arriving at the basement. The basement was eerie, and it was chilling. This was the place where the police conducted the autopsy. The reason Tang Zheng was willing to stay at the police station was because of this corpse. In the middle of the night, the forensic doctor had already left, and the basement was empty. Tang Zheng had even seen ghosts before, so of course, he was not afraid of this environment. On the cold operating table was a corpse with its chest and stomach cut open. It was obvious that the autopsy had just been carried out. Tang Zheng recognized at a glance that it was the person who had fought with him. Tang Zheng saw the autopsy results next to the corpse. It was clearly recorded that the deceased had died from a heavy blow to the heart. Tang Zheng was shocked. The two of them looked down. Sure enough, the chest of the corpse was cut open, and the heart was indeed ruptured. It seemed to have been caused by a heavy blow. However, Tang Zheng carefully examined the corpse a few more times. Other than the heart, the other internal organs were intact. Even the skin did not have any traces of a fist. This was extremely abnormal. Moreover, he believed that his punch could not have ruptured the other party's heart. At the time, he had already discovered that the other party only knew how to use fancy moves, so he had deliberately reduced his strength. That punch would have only caused a dull pain in the other party's chest, but it would not have been fatal. Just as he was thinking hard, he suddenly felt the air around him become cold, as if the temperature had dropped by a few degrees. He could not help but shiver. However, it was not out of fear. Instead, he was surprised to see a soul float up from the corpse. Although this person had been dead for a long time, the soul had not completely left the body. At this moment, the yang energy was the weakest and the yin energy was the thickest in the world. His soul had finally left the body at midnight. The soul glanced at Tang Zheng, and his eyes flashed with surprise. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat. The souls he had seen before were muddle-headed, but this soul was obviously much more awake and had a lot of consciousness from when he was alive. Tian Chanzi had once told him that this kind of situation was rare, but it was not impossible. For example, if the deceased had a strong obsession, or if the deceased was a powerhouse when he was alive, then the soul would be much stronger. Even after death, the soul would not immediately become muddle-headed. Although this person only knew how to use fancy moves, he was obviously more powerful than ordinary people. His soul was much stronger. This made Tang Zheng overjoyed. Since the other party still had the consciousness of when he was alive, then he could directly ask him about what happened when he was alive. How did you die? My fist definitely couldn't kill you. So did you die because of some other reason? Tang Zheng directly asked. The soul looked at Tang Zheng in surprise. You don't have to be surprised. I can see you and hear you. As long as you tell me the truth, I will definitely avenge you, Tang Zheng said. The soul screamed. You are the one who killed me. Tang Zheng suspiciously wrinkled his eyebrows and said, Let me reiterate, that punch of mine definitely won't be able to kill you. The one who killed you is someone else. You are already dead, so why would I lie to you? The soul was startled and stared blankly at Tang Zheng, as if he was trying to determine whether Tang Zheng was telling the truth. The moment you hit me, my heart started to beat faster. I felt blood fill my heart completely in an instant. A strong force broke through my heart, and then I lost consciousness, the soul said after recalling. Tang Zheng's eyes lit up and said, You are saying that the strong force in your heart came from within, and not from external pressure? Huh. The soul was not an idiot and immediately realized the crux of the problem. It seems like that is the case. After all, he had also practiced some martial arts, so he understood that the pressure caused by the heavy blow was definitely from the outside, and not from the inside out. This meant that Tang Zheng's fist was indeed not the real cause of his death. The soul was at a loss. He usually did not have any heart disease, so why would he have such symptoms? Tang Zheng thought more and pondered for a moment before asking, What did you do before the match? Nothing much. I felt a little nervous, so I drank a glass of water to ease my nerves, the soul said. Water. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat. The problem must be in that glass of water. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. After I drank the water, my nerves did not ease. Instead, my heart beat faster. I became even more nervous. The soul recalled and seemed to have realized something. Did someone drug me? Tang Zheng nodded with a serious expression. Most likely, but the key is who is the murderer. What evidence do I have to prove this? The soul was at a loss. I didn't offend anyone. Why would someone want to harm me? They didn't harm you, but me. It's only because you were my opponent that they attacked you. Tang Zheng had already figured out the crux of the matter. There must be some drug in that glass of water that caused his heart to explode. Coincidentally, his punch had landed on the soul's chest, so it gave people the impression that he had killed the soul. It was too vicious. Such a flawless plan left him speechless. Did they want him to be unable to continue participating in the martial arts tournament? Who would do such a thing? The answer was obvious. If it was not Yu Zhangkue, then it was Wales behind him. The forensic doctor did not find any evidence. It must be that the drug was special and did not leave any traces in the soul's body. Tang Zheng had no proof. It was impossible for him to say that he found the ghost of the deceased and solved this murder case together with the other party. I knew they wouldn't let it go, but I didn't expect them to be so insidious. It's only the knockout round and they're already playing tricks. Whoosh whoosh. Chapter 359. Tang Zheng turned around like lightning, only to see two ghost messengers holding spears suddenly appear in the room. Tang Zheng had not seen the ghost messengers for a long time, but he was not afraid. Instead, he stared at them with burning eyes. This person can see us. The ghost messengers exclaimed. Who are you? Why are you here? Tang Zheng coldly snorted. When he killed the ghost messengers, he even attracted the ghost general. Furthermore, by a freak combination of factors, the ghost general injured Wu, allowing him to escape. However, in the end, the ghost general died in the 10-direction killing array. From then on, he never met the ghost general or ghost messengers again. Today, by a freak combination of factors, he met the ghost messengers. Furthermore, the other party already knew his secret. Of course, he could not let them leave so easily. How can there be someone in this world who can see us? Ah, could it be the human who killed our ghost messengers and ghost general not long ago? The ghost messengers cried out in alarm, their faces revealing fear. This matter caused a huge commotion in the ghost realm. However, after investigating for a long time, the ghost realm could not find any clues. In the end, the matter was left unsettled. However, among the ghost messengers who frequently traveled between the ghost realm and the human realm, they were extremely fearful of that mysterious human. However, the other party seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Only then did the ghost messengers slightly dispel the doubts in their hearts. However, these two ghost messengers did not expect that today they would hit the jackpot and actually meet this killing star. The two ghost messengers reacted extremely quickly. They immediately opened the ghost gate and jumped in. However, Tang Zheng's speed was extremely fast. A black light flashed in his hand and the War Soul Sword appeared in his hand, blocking the path of the two ghost messengers. With two swishing swords, the two ghost messengers directly turned into a mass of Yin Qi, which was finally absorbed by the War Soul Sword. Seeing this scene, the ghost was scared out of his wits. He quickly floated to the side, avoiding Tang Zheng. However, Tang Zheng did not do anything to him. He advised, quickly go to the ghost realm, but you have to remember what to say and what not to say. Don't think that you can be safe and sound in the ghost realm. I can also go to the ghost realm. If I know that you dare to mention me to others, I will definitely chase you to the ghost realm. The ghost hurriedly nodded. Yes, I won't say anything. Thank you for letting me go. With that said, he jumped into the ghost gate and disappeared. Tang Zheng put away the ghost envoy's command medallion and closed the ghost gate. He heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He could also kill that ghost with a single strike of his sword, causing his soul to truly scatter and disappear from this world. However, Tang Zheng still did not do so. The other party had died because of him. If he were to destroy the other party's soul, it would be too unkind. Tang Zheng quietly returned to the guardroom and slept soundly. He was very curious as to how the police would deal with him. However, when the door to the guardhouse opened, he was told that he could leave. That person's death had nothing to do with him. Tang Zheng clearly remembered that the forensic report he saw last night said that it was related to him. Why did the police's attitude change so drastically after one night? When he walked out of the police station, he found out the reason. He saw that under the light of the rising sun, Yi Dingdang was beautifully bathed in the sunlight. She was like a goddess, exuding a soul-stirring beauty. Yi Dingdang cheered and flew towards Tang Zheng. Last night was simply torture for her. Only now did she realize that her feelings for Tang Zheng were getting stronger and stronger. When she saw the police take him away, she wished that she could take his place. Although only one night had passed, she really felt that one day apart was like 3 autumns. Seeing her run over like a lark, Tang Zheng subconsciously opened his arms and hugged her. At that moment, Yi Dingdang was stunned. This was the first time in history that Tang Zheng took the initiative to be intimate. In the past, it was Yi Dingdang who would occasionally hold his arm. The most intimate time was when the two of them were sleeping on the same bed. Unknowingly, they hugged each other in their sleep, and Tang Zheng's hand grabbed her chest. This time, Tang Zheng's unprecedented action made Yi Dingdang feel like she was in a dream. It was especially unreal. Even Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang, who were standing next to the car, opened their eyes wide in astonishment. Feng Xinyang's eyes lit up. The corner of her mouth hooked up into a smile. She patted her husband's shoulder and urged him, "Get in the car. Get in the car. Why are you blindly standing here like a third wheel? Don't ruin our daughter's good time." The two of them quickly got in the car. However, they couldn't help but look at the two through the glass window. The two of them seemed to. Yi Tianlei wanted to say something but stopped. Feng Xinyang waved her fist and laughed, as expected of Feng Xinyang's daughter. As long as the horsepower is full, there is no one who can't be wooed. This little handsome guy has really been taken down by our Dingdang. Really? Yi Tianlei was skeptical. Of course. You just wait and see. I see that the little handsome guy's aura is becoming more and more unpredictable. It seems that he has improved a lot. He really is a genius. I was worried that Dingdang was too wild. Now that she looks more ordinary than the little handsome guy, I was worried that she wouldn't be good enough for him. Feng Xinyang said worriedly. Yi Tianlei comforted, "That's our daughter." How can you say that about your daughter? I think Dingdang is very outstanding. She wouldn't be bad to be with little Tang. Moreover, the matters of the young people are not something we can interfere with. You don't have to worry about it. What do you know? Feng Xinyang glared at her husband. Her eyes turned, and she seemed to be deep in thought. Tang Zheng gently hugged Yi Dingdang and then let go. He was really moved by Yi Dingdang's excited expression and the deep affection between her eyebrows. Therefore, he couldn't help but make an action. Although Yi Dingdang left his embrace, she felt her heart melt. Her face turned red like an apple, and she didn't know what to say. "Get in the car. Your parents are waiting," Tang Zheng reminded her. She followed Tang Zheng step by step into the car. Her mind was still a little dizzy. Feng Xinyang looked at her daughter, who seemed to have lost her soul, and sighed. Why didn't this little girl have the demeanor of her mother when she was young? She lost her sense of direction so quickly. Later on, she would have to teach her by example and pass on her experience. "Uncle Yi, Aunt Feng, I have to thank you for this matter." Tang Zheng thanked. Yi Tianlei said, "You don't have to thank us. That person wasn't killed by you in the first place. I've already seen the forensic report, and according to the description, he didn't die from your heavy blow, but from other reasons. I originally wanted to use the power of the Ye family to suppress this matter, but after knowing the situation and explaining it to the police, they also realized that you weren't the murderer. Therefore, this can't be considered our contribution." Tang Zheng shook his head. If this point of suspicion wasn't raised by Yi Tianlei, then the police definitely wouldn't pay attention to it. They would most likely maintain the original decision of treating him as the murderer. Perhaps this was also the real murderer's goal. "Little handsome brother, do you know who is the real murderer behind this matter? He dared to touch my son-in-law. He must be tired of living. Feng Xinyang, will take his dog head and kick it like a ball." Feng Xinyang said murderously. For the time being, there is a suspect, but the specifics still need to be confirmed. Tang Zheng didn't mention the relationship between Yu Zhangkue and Wales. Do you need our help with this matter? Not for the time being. If there is any help, I will definitely tell you. Tang Zheng tactfully declined. Okay, remember, we are one family. There is no need to talk about two families. If there is any need, we will do our best. Yi Tianlei promised. Feng Xinyang even more casually patted Tang Zheng's shoulder and said, "Little handsome brother, if you are polite with us, then you are treating us as outsiders. I, Feng Xinyang, don't like people who treat us as outsiders." Tang Zheng smiled and nodded. Thank you, Uncle Yi and Aunt Feng. The news of Yi Dingdang leaving the police station safe and sound spread like wildfire, causing a huge uproar on the internet. Many people who were originally worried about Tang Zheng cheered and ran to spread the news. Many people also began to question Tang Zheng. He clearly killed someone in front of everyone, yet he could still leave the police station so openly. There must be something fishy going on here. Perhaps Tang Zheng had some secret identity, which was why he was given such preferential treatment. Immediately, many people on the internet began to criticize and abuse Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's image took a 180-degree turn in a few days. He was harshly denounced as an executioner. Many people signed signatures to have him get the hell out of the martial arts convention and turn himself in at the police station. As for the people who supported Tang Zheng, they immediately started a war of words with these people, arguing with each other happily. Wales looked at the argument on the internet, and the corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. Yu Zhangkue stood to the side in confusion and finally couldn't help but ask, "Mr. Wales, this kid just went in for one night and walked out so openly. We didn't achieve our goal, right?" Wales shook his head mysteriously and said, "No, our goal has been achieved." Yu Zhangkue asked in surprise, "Why? Weren't we going to stop him from participating in the martial arts convention?" "Who said I was going to stop him from participating in the martial arts convention? This is just an appetizer. If this little trick is enough to put him in jail, then you're underestimating him and the Ye family too much," Wales said. Yu Zhangkue was getting more and more confused. What was the other party's goal? Why was it so hard to understand? Wales glanced at him and thought in disdain. This person's brain is full of fat. Other than some low-level power struggles, what else does he know? He doesn't know anything. If it weren't for the fact that I need to borrow his power this time, why would I talk so much nonsense to this stupid pig? It's an insult to my intelligence. What I need is to muddy the waters and let this kid have both praise and blame. I want them to watch how their idol falls step by step. Don't they see him as the symbol of Hua Xia's soul? I want this symbol to shatter into pieces. This process is too wonderful, so wonderful that it makes my heart beat faster. I can't wait. Whale's voice suddenly became a bit louder. Yu Zhangkue felt that it was a bit strange, but he didn't dare to say anything. He could only flatter. Mr. Wales is indeed brilliant. This time, our cause will be the most successful and greatest cause in history. Chairman Yu, you also played a pivotal role in it. When our young lord comes, I will personally commend your contribution to him. Chapter 360. The young lord of the Rockefeller family will come to this land soon to witness the success of our plan, Wales explained. Yu Zhangkue's eyes gradually glowed. This young lord was the future leader of the Rockefeller family. If he could take this opportunity to build a good relationship with him, not only him, but also his children and grandchildren would benefit a lot. Mr. Wales, please rest assured. Our plan is flawless. It will definitely succeed. Wales smiled mysteriously and said, "Let's wait and see." When Tang Zheng returned to school, he found out that people on the internet were arguing about him. He laughed it off. This situation was already within his expectations. But what surprised him was that even Qi Shaowen seemed to have heard about the storm he caused. He specifically talked to him and encouraged him. "Tang Zheng, Huaxia martial arts are a part of our traditional culture. In fact, we archaeologists are also the inheritor and promotion of our traditional culture. What you did this time is similar to what we did. So, you must work hard and let the world see the quintessence of our national culture." Tang Zheng was slightly surprised. He immediately nodded and said, "Professor Qi, I'll be busy with the martial arts competition these days. I'm afraid that I'll miss a lot of classes in school." Qi Shaowen smiled disapprovingly and said, "These classes are nothing. With your strength, you can make up for it in the future. When your martial arts competition is over, I'll take you to Dianan." "Oh, why are we going to Dianan? I heard that there's a new archaeological discovery. We archaeologists often have on-site internships, but freshmen don't have this program. But you're my apprentice. Of course, I can't let go of such a good opportunity. Come with me when the time comes," Qi Shaowen explained. Tang Jing nodded, but he didn't think about what the new archaeological discovery was. The next day, the qualifying match began. It was still at the National Stadium. There were only 20 fighters left. This match would eliminate half of them, leaving only 10 fighters. This competition was even more intense, and foreign players would also be participating. Hence, most of the seats in the stadium were filled. Because of the elimination round, there were deaths. Although the police determined that it was a sudden heart attack, this martial arts convention was still tainted with the smell of blood. When Tang Zheng walked into the stadium, there were two distinct types of shouts in the crowd. One was to support him, and the other was to insult him. Especially the disciple of the deceased yesterday, he couldn't wait to rush up and punch him. Tang Zheng ignored him and quietly walked to the backstage players' lounge. Li Xiaotian and Yi Dingding followed beside him. The combination of the two beauties made him even more eye-catching, firmly grabbing everyone's attention. These people really can't tell right from wrong. You were clearly wronged, but there are still so many people blaming you and insulting you," Yi Dingdang said indignantly. "Their mouths are growing on their bodies. Can you stop them?" Li Xiaotian retorted. Yi Dingdang glared. "They dare to insult Tang Zheng. I won't let them go." Tang Zheng patted her shoulder and comforted her. "Don't be so sensitive. They said it. I won't lose a piece of meat. It's okay." The qualifying match was decided by drawing lots. Huaxia had a total of 8 fighters, while the Western Empire had 6, Island Nation had 3, Korea had 2, and Siam had 1. There were a total of 20 fighters. After the drawing of lots, Tang Jing drew a Korean man named Pu Jintai. He was very delicate and a little effeminate. Pu Jintai glanced at him and snorted disdainfully. Then he walked to the front of the ring. There were a total of 10 matches in this qualifying match. The Martial Arts Association prepared 10 rings at once, and all the fighters walked onto the ring at once. The audience immediately cheered. Many people shouted the name of Brother Kung Fu. Tang Zheng undoubtedly became the focus of attention. The other Huaxia fighters all looked ashamed. This match was also their home ground, but they didn't have any sense of presence. Especially when they saw the fighters standing on the other side. Their legs trembled. The Martial Arts Association gave them a death order. They must survive this qualifying match. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. But they were obviously not on the same level as the opponent. How could they survive? Many people felt bitter in their hearts. They wished they could just give up. But in front of thousands of spectators, giving up would probably drown them in saliva. They could only brace themselves and go on. With a ding-dong, the golden gong sounded. The qualifying match began. The crowd suddenly quieted down and held their breaths. The atmosphere in the arena instantly became oppressive. People couldn't help but feel nervous. The reporters aimed their cameras at the ring, clearly recording every moment. The relevant personnel of the Martial Arts Association sat on the rostrum and watched the match condescendingly. Yu Zhangkue, in particular, had a sullen face. His eyes swept between the rings and finally locked on to Tang Zheng. The resentment in his eyes flickered. "Tang Zheng, I'll let you jump around for a few days." "Humph, this time you actually drew Pu Jintai. He is a taekwondo master. Even if you can win, you must suffer a big loss." Most of the audience's attention was attracted by Tang Zheng's ring. After all, this Korean man didn't seem to be a showy fighter. He must have real skills. It was not so easy to win. Bang! With a muffled sound, a fighter in the ring flew out of the ring and hit the ground. He was in a sorry state. He wailed and couldn't move. This person was Huaxia, and his opponent was a Westerner. In just 10 moves, he made his opponent lose the match. The audience couldn't help but exclaim and gasp. This Westerner was too strong. They weren't even in the same order of magnitude. At the same time, the other Westerners' fighting strength instantly erupted. This time, 4 of Huaxia's 8 people were fighting Westerners. The other 2 were fighting Island Nation people. One was fighting Siamese Sampa, and the last one was fighting Tangjung against Korean man Pu Jintai. So when the Westerner launched his attack, the others also launched their attacks. Shadows flew in the ring, and screams sounded one after another. These screams were all from Huaxia. Except for Tangjung, the gap between the others and their opponents was too big. One of them was grabbed by the hands of a Westerner. Fists rained down on his body. That person didn't have the strength to fight back. However, the Westerner didn't stop. He attacked unscrupulously. In the end, the Huaxia man fainted and lay on the ground like a pile of mud. Only then did the Westerner stop. Similar scenes played out one after another. These Westerners were high and mighty. They wantonly humiliated Huaxia's contestants. Even after Huaxia's contestants took the initiative to admit defeat, the Westerners didn't stop and continued to beat them up. This was like a slap to the face. It was loud and clear on the faces of all Huaxia's contestants. Many of the audience's cheeks were red with shame. Don't force it. That person begged for mercy, but he still didn't stop. Yes, this is bullying at their doorstep. It's as if they really want to kill him. Yu Zhangkue looked at the ring expressionlessly. As he watched Huaxia's contestants fall one by one, his heart bloomed with joy. Let the fight be even more brutal and fierce. Let all Huaxia's contestants lose face and break down mentally. This was the result of his deliberate arrangement. He wanted to play with these Huaxia's contestants in front of thousands of spectators and make Huaxia's contestants lose face. Trash, a bunch of trash. What kind of broken martial arts is this? It's worthless and useless. You can't even take a few punches. Angry curses and taunts came from the audience. This caused some of the contestants who were still struggling to hold on to collapse instantly. They were trampled on like mud by their opponents. The Island Nation, Korean, and Siamese contestants were slightly more restrained than the Westerners. However, everyone's attacks were very sharp. They defeated their opponents in a few moves. Therefore, in a flash, the competition came to an end. Victory and defeat had already been decided on the 7 rings. These were all 7 Huaxia's rings. Huaxia's contestants were all defeated, leaving only the arrogant foreigners. In the remaining 3 rings, other than Tangjung's, there were 2 other Island Nation contestants and Westerners fighting. The contestants in these 2 rings were evenly matched. The fight was very exciting, and it was difficult to tell who had the upper hand. The only Huaxia's ring was particularly eye-catching. Everyone's gaze was focused on it. Tangjung naturally saw that Huaxia's contestants were almost completely wiped out. Now, he was the only one left. Opposite him, Pu Jintai had been waiting for an opportunity to make a move. When he saw Tangjung was calm, he was a little nervous and did not dare to make a move rashly. Tangjung saw that his compatriots were defeated one by one, and the audience roared, "Idiots, a bunch of idiots. Shameful, too shameful. Is this Huaxia's martial arts?" I said that Huaxia's martial arts were showy but impractical. This finally proved one point. You think I believe in Huaxia's martial arts? It's really too disappointing. Many people in the audience felt their hearts bleed. The audience has lost their confidence. Then I will show them the real Huaxia's martial arts. Tangjung moved his head, and his body moved as well. Like a tornado, he rolled toward Pu Jintai. Pu Jintai saw that Tangjung had made a move. Instead of retreating, he moved forward. He also roared and kicked with a long leg, bringing with it a whistling sound. Tangjung directly ignored his opponent's counterattack. He jumped up and looked down from above. Pu Jintai also jumped up. The wind blew his hair, revealing his handsome face, which was quite attractive. Whoosh! Tangjung simply whipped his leg at his opponent, and Pu Jintai also kicked his leg to block. Bang! With a crisp sound, Pu Jintai seemed to have been hit by a meteorite. His leg directly spurted blood, and his long leg bent at a strange angle. His body flew up like a willow catkin and flew directly out of the ring. He flew several meters away before landing heavily. His head hit the ground and he fainted. In one move, Tang Zheng only used one move to defeat hundreds of Taekwondo masters who were not bad in the eyes of others. Suddenly, everyone looked at him in disbelief. Chapter 361. Earth-shattering cheers and applause immediately rang out. Many people shouted the three words, Brother Kung Fu, in unison. I told you that Huasia's martial arts are real skills and not embroidered pillows. Look at that Korean stick. He couldn't even take a single hit and was directly knocked out of the ring. Yeah, that kick was so cool. How did Brother Kung Fu train to be so powerful? The audience discussed animatedly as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Yi Dingdang clenched her fist and waved it a few times. She was so excited that her little face was red. On the other hand, Li Xiaotian was expressionless and said, if he can't win a battle of this level, then he's not Tang Zheng. Yi Dingdang snorted and did not comment. Suddenly, Li Xiaotian's phone rang. She quickly took the phone and walked to a secluded place. The remaining two local rings quickly determined the winner and loser. The two island nation people and the Westerners had one win and one loss. As a result, there were 5 Westerners who advanced in this round, 2 from the island nation, 1 from Korea, and 1 from Siam. The Huaxia people who originally had the most people were only left with Tang Zheng. There was only one person left, and compared to the other teams, it was a bit weak. However, the other teams were even more cautious of Tang Zheng, because Tang Zheng's battle just now was simply too sharp. It was fine if he didn't make a move, but once he made a move, it had the power of wind and thunder. He directly KO'd the opponent, leaving the opponent with no way to fight back. The Korean who had lost his teammate walked to Tang Zheng's side with an unfriendly expression and said with a murderous aura, I will avenge Pu Jintai. I will definitely defeat you. Just you wait. Tang Zheng smiled and said, I will wait for you. The key is that you have to have the ability. However, I advise you to stay away from me. Otherwise, you will immediately leave this arena. I have never shown mercy to countries that are used to being thieves. I will definitely teach these thieves a lesson. The Korean's face immediately flushed red. The other contestants even sneered. The Koreans did not have a good reputation internationally. Not only did they like to be thieves and steal other people's traditional culture for their own, but they also shamelessly applied for a World Heritage Site. Moreover, they deliberately acted shamelessly in international competitions. Their sinister little tricks were frequently used, making people's jaws drop. One could not help but admire the thickness of their skin. I will make you pay. The Korean roared and turned around to leave. Sampa also walked over and looked at Tang Zheng face to face and said, I said that I will challenge you. If I did not fight with you in this competition, then I will challenge you alone after the competition. Tang Zheng's face sank. He retracted his look of contempt and contempt. This Sampa from the beginning had come to challenge him. He was very different from the others, so he would give him the respect he deserved. As you wish. Sampa nodded his head in satisfaction. His small and thin body walked away with his head held high. The island nation person gave Tang Zheng a kind smile and said, Congratulations to Mr. Tang Zheng for winning the competition. Tang Zheng coldly snorted and did not reply. These island nation people looked humble and polite on the surface, but in reality, they were incomparably arrogant. The more humble and respectful they were, the more you had to be careful because they could plot against you at any time. Seeing that Tang Zheng's expression was not good, the island nation person smiled and also left. In the end, only a few burly Westerners were left. Their faces were filled with hatred and they indignantly said, Tang Zheng, you won this round by luck. Wait for us, we will let you know what true strength is. Moreover, we will take revenge for Kyle. The corner of Tang Zheng's mouth raised as he said, Then we will see when the time comes. The Westerners left in a huff. Tang Zheng went backstage. Yi Dingdang excitedly rushed over and said, You are really too strong. That move was too cool. Tang Zheng smiled, but he saw Li Xiaotian walk over with a gloomy face. What's wrong? Tang Zheng's heart moved, understanding that something must have happened, so he asked. Li Xiaotian glanced at Yi Dingdang and shook his head. Tang Zheng knew that it must be something secret, which was why he did not want to say it in front of Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang was incomparably clever and saw this point at a glance. Although she was very interested in the conversation between the two, she still tactfully said, "I will go to the bathroom. I will be back in a while." After Yi Dingdang left, Tang Jing asked, "Can you say it now?" Li Xiaotian lowered his voice and said, "The young lord of the Rockefeller family will arrive in Beijing in a few days." The young lord of the Rockefeller family? Tang Zhang was greatly surprised. What is he doing in Beijing? Also, is there anything special about this person? Why are you making such a fuss? In the past few days, the Li Palace has carried out a detailed investigation of the Rockefeller family. Do you know where the most dazzling part of this investigation is? Li Xiaotian asked. Tang Zhang shook his head, indicating that he did not know. The most dazzling part is this young lord. His name is Louis Rockefeller. This person has shown outstanding talent since he was young. He is a genius, proficient in astronomy, geography, philosophy, and art. He is proficient in everything, and is also proficient in 10 languages. Not only that, this person also loves yarn. He joined the army in his teens, and has been on a real battlefield. He has experienced the baptism of a hail of bullets, and has also obtained many military medals. He is very famous in the Western Empire, and is the dream lover of many girls. Li Xiaotian introduced. Tang Zhang was flabbergasted. Was this person a monster? How could he be proficient in so many things at such a young age? He was simply a genius among geniuses. Looking at Tang Zhang's expression, the corner of Li Xiaotian's mouth raised a little and said, "Now you know that there is always someone better than you. We are usually limited to the land of Huaxia, but there are such geniuses in other lands, and we are not aware of them. It is truly a shame." Don't just be ashamed. What is this person's goal? Have you investigated clearly? Tang Zhang changed the topic and asked. Li Xiaotian said, "In all likelihood, he is here for the martial arts assembly. This time, the other party's plan is so huge. Of course there is no room for the slightest mistake, so they specially sent such a genius to supervise the battle." So what if he is here? I want to see just what kind of strength he can jump up to. Tang Zhang said disapprovingly, "Don't boast too early. With a woman's sixth sense, I feel that this young lord is definitely not simple. You must not lower your guard." Li Xiaotian analyzed. "Tang Zhang, look who I brought." Suddenly, Yi Dingdong's surprised voice sounded from outside the door. "Who did you bring?" Tang Zhang asked in astonishment. He walked towards the door in large strides. Suddenly, his eyes flashed with surprise. Looking at the 3 familiar faces, his face immediately blossomed with a smile. "Why is it you guys? Why are you guys here? Haha, young Master Tang, we missed you. You left ordinary balance for several months, and we haven't seen you guys. This time, we heard that you were going to participate in the martial arts assembly and fight the foreigners. Of course we would come to cheer you on." A forthright voice said. The owner of the voice was Lin Hu, who had been separated for a long time. Fire Phoenix charmingly said, "Young Master Tang, since you came to Beijing, you can't forget about us old friends. We know that you are busy with your studies, so we took the initiative to come see you." Tang Zhang smiled from the bottom of his heart. "Of course I want to go see you guys, but there are too many things to do. I can't get away." "Of course we understand, but ordinary balance is such a big place. Young Master Tang can't always be a hands-off shopkeeper." Fire Phoenix said. Tang Zhang was really used to being a hands-off shopkeeper. Moreover, he controlled ordinary balance's matters. He wanted to have a stable backing so that his grandfather could live a carefree life in ordinary balance. Therefore, everything was handed over to Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix to manage. He rarely interfered. "AI, it's been hard on you guys. What's so hard about us? All of that was fought down by him, young Master Tang. We're just helping you guard it. We're the ones who took advantage of you." Lin Hu said with a smile. "Lord Envoy, Ayuan has seen you again." Another tall young man was obviously more excited than the others as he looked at Tang Zhang respectfully. Tang Zhang patted Yi Yuan's shoulder and said, "Ayuan, how have you been feeling recently? Hu Ji and Sister Phoenix have taught me a lot of things." Yi Yuan said. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix immediately waved their hands and said, Ah Yuan is too modest. How could we teach him anything? He was the one who gave us a huge shock and understood that there was always someone better than him. Ah Yuan is truly a martial arts genius, and in just a few months, he has already reached the 9th grade of body refining stage. Tang Zheng could already tell that Yi Yuan's cultivation was at the 9th grade of qi refining and not the 9th grade of body refining, because he was a cultivator. However, Yi Yuan had only left the 10,000 huge mountains for a few months, and he already had such a cultivation level. In fact, this was not hard to understand. In the past, although there were restrictions in the 10,000 huge mountains, and the people of the Witch Clan could not cultivate, their bodies had already stored a lot of energy and huge potential. When they could cultivate, all of this would explode out, which was why they had such a terrifying cultivation speed. Lord Envoy, Ah Yuan is too stupid. He is not doing well enough. In the future, I will need Lord Envoy's guidance. Yi Yuan said sincerely. You're already very powerful, Tang Zheng said with certainty. After Yi Yuan received the praise, he immediately revealed a brilliant smile, just like a pure child receiving the praise of an adult. Yi Dingdang and Li Xiaotian both looked at Yi Yuan in shock. The two of them did not know Yi Yuan before, but hearing that he had such a huge breakthrough in just a few months, it was truly inconceivable. Why did Tang Zheng have so many freaks by his side? His cultivation speed was so fast that it did not seem like a normal person. Tang Zheng glanced at Yi Dingdang and Li Xiaotian's suspicious expressions. Tang Zheng said loudly, Let's leave this place first. I'll treat you to a meal. Haha, young Master Tang has to treat us to a meal, and we have to get drunk. Lin Hu agreed. Huji, don't say such big words. Young Master Tang is not drunk even after 1,000 cups. If you compete with him in drinking, you can only hide under the table. Fire Phoenix teased. Chapter 362. Although Tang Zheng had been in the capital for a few months, he was not too familiar with it. Especially when it came to finding a place to eat, he did not have any experience. In the end, he decided to go to Li Hongqing's private restaurant. It was classy and unique. When they arrived at the private restaurant, they were stopped by the waiter. The private restaurant had to be reserved, so Tang Zheng and his group had no way of entering without a reservation. Seeing that, Lin Hu flew into a rage. What kind of shop is this? I came to your shop to eat because I think highly of you, yet you dare to stop us. However, the waiter was not afraid. He politely said, I'm sorry, sir. This is our rule. If you come to eat again, please make a reservation in advance. I'm going to eat. Let's see what you can do to me. When Lin Hu was in the ordinary balance, he had never suffered such grievances. Seeing that young Master Tang had also suffered such grievances, of course he had to stand up for him. He thought to himself that it seemed that young Master Tang was not doing too well in the capital, and should he pull a group of brothers to the capital to expand his territory? Huzi, don't be so noisy. Since we didn't make a reservation, let's go somewhere else to find food. AI, today is really embarrassing. I invited you guys to eat, but was rejected. Tang Zheng said with a bitter smile. Young Master Tang, it's just a meal. I don't believe that I won't be able to enter this shop today. Fire Phoenix's temper also flared up. She decided to vent her anger for young Master Tang today. Lin Hu nodded. Young Master Tang, don't worry about it. If we don't eat this meal today, we will not rest. How could Tang Jing not understand their intentions? However, he still had some relationship with Li Hongqing and Qin Badian, so he did not want to make things difficult for them. Before he could persuade him again, he saw Yi Yuan rush in like an arrow. The waiter had no way of stopping him. She had worked here for so many years, but no one had ever dared to cause trouble here. Today, the sun had risen from the west, and there was actually someone who dared to cause trouble here. However, she did not panic and immediately pressed the alarm in her hand. In the blink of an eye, a few people rushed out and stopped Yi Yuan. Yi Yuan did not say a word. He raised his hand and struck. He was already extremely strong, and now that he had cultivated, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Those few people could not stop him at all, and not long later, they were all knocked to the ground. The waiter was stunned. Who were these people? They were so fierce and dared to come here to cause trouble. Did they eat the guts of a leopard? Tang Zheng wanted to stop him, but it was already too late. Seeing Yi Yuan's lightning-fast attack, he could only shake his head and laugh bitterly. Yi Yuan definitely thought that these people dared to look down on him, which was why he wanted to vent his anger for him. Ah Yuan, good job. What kind of lousy restaurant is this? I'll tear it down one day. Lin, who was not afraid of making a big deal out of it, and said loudly. The commotion here had already attracted the attention of many customers, and they all ran out to see what was strange. Those who could come here to spend money were not nouveau riche, but people who truly had power, wealth, and power. Seeing these people directly make a move, many people started to mutter, saying that there was going to be a good show to watch today. This meal was worth it. They had never seen anyone come here to cause trouble. This time it was an eye-opener. Many people were gloating. These people were definitely outsiders, daring to cause trouble here. Even though they were making a ruckus now, they probably wouldn't even be able to cry later. Who wants to tear down my shop? Li Hongqing slowly walked out, frowned, and asked coldly, I'm going to tear down your shop. How about it? Lin, who also rushed in. You. Watch me break your bones later. Li Hongqing said sternly. Daring to cause trouble in her restaurant, he was truly tired of living. It had to be known that even Chu Xiaofeng did not dare to flare up here when he was defeated. It could be seen how intimidating Li Hongqing and Qin Batian were. All right, then let's see who will tear down who. Ah Yuan, do it. Lin, who had been licking blood from his blade all year round. How could he be afraid of the threat of a woman? Tang Jing knew that if he did not stop them, they would make a big deal out of it. So he immediately rushed in and shouted, Stop! Lin Hu and Yi Yuan stopped at the same time. Young Master Tang, how can we not tear down this kind of shop? How dare they not let you in? Tearing it down is letting them off easy. Stop talking. Tang Zheng's face darkened, and Lin Hu immediately kept quiet. Tang Zheng smiled at Li Hongqing and said, Boss Li, I'm sorry, these are my brothers. We didn't make an appointment just now, so we were blocked outside. My brothers are a little angry. Li Hongqing was originally filled with anger, but when she saw Tang Zheng, her anger disappeared like smoke in thin air. Her pair of phoenix eyes blossomed with light, and her anger turned into joy as she said, Tang Zheng, you are treating me like an outsider. It is my honor that you came to my shop. How can I reject you and your friends? It is the people below who do not know you, so they are not sensible. Remember this in the future. When young Master Tang comes, there is no need to make an appointment, and all fees are free. When the others heard this, they all revealed a look of shock, especially the few experienced waiters who all looked at Tang Zheng and said in their hearts that they must remember this face. While others use their cards to eat, he only needs to use his face to eat. The other customers were also surprised. Just who was this person to have such great face? Lin Hu, Fire Phoenix, and the rest looked at both sides suspiciously. What was going on? Weren't they not allowed to enter just now? How did he become a distinguished guest now? Fire Phoenix had an idea and immediately guessed the reason. She said in a low voice, Brother Hu, this woman is not simple, but she gave young Master Tang so much face. It seems like young Master Tang is not doing too badly in the capital. The two of them were worried that Tang Zheng would be wronged in the capital. After all, the various powers in the capital were gathered, and Tang Zheng did not have much power of his own, so it was inevitable that he would be bullied. This time, they came to the capital with another plan, and that was to discuss with Tang Zheng whether or not they could send some brothers to the capital to serve Tang Jing and solve some troublesome matters. Boss Li, today's flood rushed to the Dragon King Temple and disturbed your business. I apologize on behalf of my brothers. Tang Zheng said. Li Hongqing immediately pretended to be angry and said, Tang Zheng, are you slapping my face? My life was saved by you. If it wasn't for you, I would have gone to the Hall of Hell to report. Saying these words makes us seem distant. Since they are your brothers, then they are my, Li Hongqing's, honored guests. You are welcome to come often. Come, let's talk in the private room. The few of them arrived at a huge and unique small courtyard. Inside, there was an antique room. This was the most luxurious private room in the private restaurant. Remember, in the future, when young Master Tang comes, bring him to this private room. Li Hongqing instructed the waiter. The waiter was secretly shocked. This private room was not something that could be booked with money. Moreover, it was not open to ordinary guests. This young man's identity was too amazing to be able to make the boss value him so highly. Bossly, today we brothers were reckless and offended your restaurant. Please forgive us. In a moment, we will punish ourselves with 3 cups of wine. Lin, who was an upright person, since the other party gave Tangjing so much face, and the two sides seemed to have a good relationship, then of course he had to do something. Li Hongqing smiled and said, "This brother is too serious. It is our restaurant service that is not good enough. It is not your fault. In a moment, I will punish myself with 3 cups of wine to apologize to young Master Tang. Moreover, I have not thanked young Master Tang for saving my life last time. This time, I hope that young Master Tang will give me a chance to express my gratitude." It was just a small matter. Tangjing waved his hand. "Bossly, there are other guests. You can go to your work. Don't just attend to us." "Hee, today I will not attend to other guests. I will specifically attend to your table." Everyone is a friend, so this meal must be good. It was difficult to refuse such kindness. Tang Zheng had no choice but to accept this kindness. The few of them talked and laughed. The atmosphere was very lively. Li Hongqing was a wonderful person. She treated people as if they were bathed in a spring breeze. Gradually, the two sides became friends. Li Hongqing's gaze swept over Lin, who and Fire Phoenix from time to time. She thought that these two were people of the underworld, but they were so respectful towards Tang Jing and even called him young Master Tang. It was really strange. Could it be that Tang Zheng was also a person of the underworld? Because of her husband, Qin Batian, Li Hongqing did not dislike people of the underworld. Instead, she was somewhat close to them. This Tang Zheng was becoming more and more unfathomable. Qin Batian once said that Tang Zheng was a person worth befriending. Since that was the case, then she should deepen the relationship between them in the future. "Young Master Tang, I heard that you participated in the martial arts tournament this time. Let me give you a toast and wish you victory. The champion will definitely be you." Li Hongqing raised her cup and said. She also followed the others and called him young Master Tang. This showed respect and did not seem distant. "Thank you for your auspicious words, Bossly." The two of them downed the cup in one gulp, and Li Hongqing said, "The champion is definitely in young Master Tang's bag, but this martial arts tournament has been held for many years, and everyone knows that it is a competition for the Martial Arts Association to trick the layman. Why would young Master Tang be interested in this?" Of course, Tang Zheng could not say that it was to destroy Rockefeller and Yu Zhangkui's scheme. He smiled and said, "Bored, find something to do?" But this time, young Master Tang's move was very clever. "Now, you are a famous person. Many people know you, and you even have a lot of supporters," Li Hongqing said. As soon as he finished speaking, a commotion suddenly came from outside. "Li Hongqing, what exactly do you mean by this? We obviously booked this private room beforehand. Why did you give it to someone else? I want to see who has such great face." An angry shout rang out, followed by the sound of noisy footsteps approaching from afar. Bang! The door to the private room was pushed open. Yi Yuan immediately stood up and rushed to the door. He stared at the door like a tiger eyeing its prey, as if he could explode and injure someone at any time. Scram! The person outside shouted angrily and slapped Yi Yuan with his palm. Yi Yuan did not move an inch and pushed his palm out. Bang! With a muffled sound, Yi Yuan retreated a small step, while the other party retreated a large step. His face turned pale with fright as he exclaimed, "Who are you?" Yi Yuan coldly snorted, but did not comment. In his eyes, there was only Lord Envoy Tang Zheng, and if he dared to disturb Tang Zheng's meal, then he would naturally be an enemy. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.